Excuse me, Matt.
Yeah. You're right, Phil.
Hi there, Matt.
How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. I've got quite a dry mouth, though.
That's convenient, because I'm just over here at the TFC Towers bar.
Yeah, I saw you standing at the bar there.
Do you want me to get you a beverage from the bar?
Do you have any non-alcoholics?
Let me just check. No.
No, I'll have an alcoholic then, please.
I've got On the Beach,
Yeah.
which is like sex on the beach, but without the sex.
Yeah, it's cleaner.
It's a blend of orange juice, cranberry juice, and peach schnapps flavours.
Oh.
So not actually a blend of orange juice, cranberry juice, and peach schnapps, just their flavours, mixed with undesignated alcohol. It says alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah.
There's no ingredients on this at all.
No.
So,
That's the thing with when you buy alcohol, is that I don't think they have to print ingredients. They just have to say vague. I don't know if it has to be vague. Does that not smell very nice?
I've just cracked open On the Beach,
Can I have a
and it smells like gone-off apricots.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you what it does smell like. It smells like unsulfured apricots. Have you ever been to Holland and Barrett and bought unsulfured apricots?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they smell like that. That's why people don't buy them.
I'll be buying them though. They sound good for you. What benefit is unsulfured apricots? Because Holland and Barrett's like a health store, isn't it?
It is without the sulphur.
So is that for if you really want apricots but you don't like sulphur?
But you don't want sulphur dioxide.
Who is that in the world that?
Pretentious people who like to spend 50 pence to a pound more on a 200 gram bag of apricots.
Yeah.
Not that I know the exact price of apricots.
Have you got any lying around?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't been to Lidl recently.
Eating them all? No, I meant unsulfured.
Oh, definitely not then.
The ones you get at Lidl, I'm pretty sure aren't real fruit.
They just taste like sugar.
Anyway, what else have you got?
Talking of sugar, I've got Oscar's Cosmopolitan Half Drunk.
Is that on the label?
Ready to drink cocktail, which is cranberry, lime, and orange flavour spirit. And once again, not quite sure the alcohol is in it.
What? How do you make a Cosmo?
It's cranberry juice, lime,
and alcohol,
sugar around the rim, and I think rum.
When you type in Cosmo, the magazine comes up. Boo!
No, yay, they're a TFC affiliate.
Oh, are they? Are they also with TFC Network?
Yeah.
We own Condé Nast. So do they do that? And Future Publishing we own.
We own them, and whatever they may do.
Yeah. A Cosmopolitan, or informally a Cosmo, if you want to use street slang.
Is it rum?
A cocktail made with vodka.
Oh, wrong.
Triple sec. What's triple sec?
It's something that's in every cocktail recipe, but no one has in their cabinet.
It's an orange flavoured liqueur made from dried peels of bitter and sweet orange. There you go. And it's Cosmo also has cranberry juice and freshly squeezed or sweetened lime juice.
Oh.
So there you go.
So what can I interest you? Can I interest you in a Cosmopolitan or an On the Beach?
I'm quite a cosmopolitan guy, and I live in the Midlands, which is the furthest point away on the British Isles from any beaches, so I'll have a Cosmo.
Would you like a quick smell of this one?
Yeah, go on then. Oh yeah, that doesn't really smell like alcohol.
Tell me when to stop.
Smells like
That's
Fanta.
the point of cocktails.
I suppose so.
Tell me when to stop.
Right. When? Yeah, just fill that up. Yeah. Great. I like how you fill it. No, you neck the bottle. You fill the bleach into the
little
brim. That's true, yeah. That's going to get spilled immediately.
Oh,
yeah, it has done.
Let's take it round our expensive recording equipment.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Swig of Cosmo for the working man.
Cosmo.
Again,
Ooh.
Doesn't taste like alcohol at all.
Very good for you though, because it's full of fruit, which is the best source of sugar.
Just out of interest, what's your favourite TV show of all time?
Favourite?
Great answer. Mine's Sex and the City.
Yeah. I was going to say that.
And of course, they drink Cosmopolitan, so I've heard.
Yeah.
Having seen all the episodes, I can tell you that may or may not be true.
I've seen one. I've seen an episode.
I saw half of the movie on a plane.
Oh yeah.
And they were on a camel for some reason.
Yeah.
And I just sort of dazed out.
I lied. I haven't actually seen anything of Sex and the City.
Meant to be Brill though.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I don't know if it's. I don't know if I'm its target audience.
But I think that about Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black is good though. I like it.
Everyone said it's brilliant, but the people who've said it's brilliant have all been girls.
Hello. I've said it's brilliant. What's this all about? Oh,
That's
It is
awkward.
good.
Is it
Watch
good?
it. Yeah.
I have the first season and the second season ready to watch.
I just stream them because I'm quite a cosmopolitan sort of guy. I'm quite... my finger's on the pulse.
Not your pulse, the pulse of society.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, as Sex and the City, Cosmopolitans, and my favourite show,
Yeah.
I thought I'd quiz you a little bit and find out which character you most represent. Of course, the characters are...
Oh, do you want to name them?
Yeah.
All right.
If you get 2, I'll give you a high five.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you 2.
Dead air.
I'll
No,
give
no,
you
no.
2.
I can do it. Okay, yeah. Give me 2, and then I'll get
Charlotte and Miranda.
Oof.
I want you to get the other 2.
Oh fuck.
Do you want me to give you the other 2 as well?
Just give me one more.
Samantha.
Oh, that was the one I had on the tip of my tongue. All right, what's the other one?
Carrie.
Carrie, yeah. I would have got that.
So which one do you think you might be?
I've always been a Samantha girl.
Well, let's see. See if the
Right.
quiz is correct.
What is this, like Playbuzz or something?
This is brainfall.com /quizzes/ which Sex and the City character are you?
This is probably... The show is probably going to peak here at 6 minutes and 20 seconds in, because we do... TLDR is all about taking the very best of the internet over the past week and serving it to you in an easy to digest format. And I would imagine this is probably the best thing that's been on the internet in the past week. All the bloggers have been talking about this.
It's really blown up. I mean, it came out July 21st, 2013, but August 2014, it's really just exploded.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure Sex and the City ended about 5 or 6 years
Quite a
ago.
while ago, yeah.
But, you know, we'll come back to that. Question numero uno.
Yeah.
The cute guy you've been talking to at the bar, let's just say it's me. Just for ease.
Yeah.
He offers to buy you a drink.
Right.
You tell him you want a sex on the beach, often known as
On the beach. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to give him a push in the right direction.
Is that part of A?
Yeah. B, a cosmopolitan, often known as a Cosmo.
Right, does it say that?
No. B, martini.
I thought that was B.
C, martini.
Yeah.
And D, whiskey on the rocks. He should know you're no weak Barbie.
Ooh, whiskey on the rocks. Can't be doing that. That's too gruff for me. I'm a worldly kind of gal.
Remember that time
Stuff around the edges.
we drank all that whiskey?
Yeah.
And we were just both really drunk.
Yeah.
Just in the house. We didn't do anything or go anywhere.
We just sort of sat around. And do you remember that time as well when we had Brendan, famous for doing the Pitchside Chronicles
TFC
podcast?
alumni.
Yeah. He came around and we drank loads of rum, but didn't realise that we drank literally 2 massive bottles of rum. And then the evening got really weird, and at one point you were topless with a hunting knife. I don't really remember why, but you were.
And I was beating my chest.
Yeah. So I'd say probably a Cosmo.
Cosmo.
It's my favourite drink.
I'll just have a swig.
Go on. Got some fans outside there, outside the studio. Waiting.
Always wanting autographs.
Yeah.
Next question. You're broke and you're down to your last $100. Let's say.
Wouldn't happen.
For ease, £100.
Wouldn't happen. This tastes like fruit juice.
Yeah, so you can just swing it down.
Yeah.
You spend it on A, those new stilettos, let's say sneakers, you've been dying to have. You might be homeless, but at least you'll be fashionably homeless.
Right.
B,
No.
a night out at the bar. The guy you pick up will know how to make you forget you're broke, with his cock, I presume.
Yeah, probably is cock and balls.
C.
BBC, ball, cock.
Ball cock. A large order of greasy takeout from your favourite Chinese restaurant. The fortune cookie might deliver some good news. D, nothing. You'll probably need that £100 later.
Now, the thing about fortune cookies is that here, someone's put a car in the green room. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's impressive, since we're on the
Probably just drove
47th
one
floor. Probably just drove it up the elevator. Up the shaft. The thing about fortune cookies is that here in England, we don't really have fortune cookies.
No, they're a novelty, if anything.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever really had them is I went to Chinatown in London and bought a bag full of about 50 for like £2.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
ate them because they're quite nice.
Did you read the fortunes?
I had them stuck up for a while somewhere.
Oh,
It just
really?
said stuff like, you'll have
You'll
a
win
great
it,
day.
ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
But because I ate them all, they were all my fortunes.
Were they ever bad fortunes?
They really just had everything covered.
Do you know what? In the middle of this quiz, it's going to be a bit inception-y. I'm going to find, because I'm sure there is one, a random fortune cookie generator and give you your fortune.
Oh, fingers
Here we
crossed
go.
it's a good one.
FortuneCookieMessage.com.
Hope the gods are looking out for me.
Open a cookie. Bad luck and misfortune will follow you all your days.
Yay!
Do you want another?
No.
No, that's it.
I can't question the fortune cookie gods.
That's true. I'll have one though. Instead of worrying and agonising, move ahead constructively. It's not. That's advice though.
Yeah. It's not really a fortune.
No.
It's just saying do this.
I'll have another one, please. Sometimes the object of the journey is not the end, but the journey itself. That's more of a musing.
Not true though. Finger, moon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a reference to a conversation that we had when we were really high. It wasn't on microphone.
I've used that analogy about 3 or 4 times since that conversation. Literally 0 people have got it. They've gone, what the fuck are you talking? Finger, moon. Who's pointing at the moon?
You've got to say it's a traditional Zen thing, and then people have more respect for it. Because, oh, Zen, yeah, the Orient.
Yes, the shinky art of thinking. Yeah. Well,
Oh, Zen. Oh, I'm so sorry. Those sorts of people.
Yeah.
Me so sorry.
yeah.
That's from The Simpsons. It's not racist, because it is from The Simpsons.
I'll let you off this once. I hate racists. I don't allow them on the network.
You hate racists, I hate races. So together,
Yeah, weird.
Former-
Got it all covered.
yeah. I don't like most races other than whites, because whites are just... I feel like whites, we've got it right.
If
So
it's
why
not
do you
white,
get-
it's not alright.
Oh dear.
I don't know why you're laughing.
No,
I've
it's...
got that tattooed on my back. So,
Okay.
yeah. And the Confederate flag underneath.
yeah. The Confederate flag's a weird one. If I was black, I would see the Confederate flag as a sort of swastika.
Like Hitler.
Like Hitler,
It would be
yeah.
a Hitler.
Yeah, not the Hindu swastika. I did mean
Yeah.
the Hitler one.
I
You're
had,
right.
I had a bracelet once with the Hindu swastika on.
Oh, yeah.
But I got it... I got so much abuse and questioning about it.
removed.
I just took it off.
That's like, did you ever watch that Bear Grylls programme where a team of British men were sent off to an island with cameras without any sort of crew, and they had to film themselves surviving for a week? Or maybe it was like a month, I don't know.
Did they do it or did anyone die?
I only watched the first 2 episodes, but one guy broke his hand, and the guy who broke his hand was about 19 years old, called Ryan,
Yeah.
worked in a call centre, and he had a tattoo on his calf, and he had like the swastika on it. And he's like, oh, it's Hindu, you don't understand. And people are like, what does it mean? He's like, oh, I don't really know, but
See,
I'm
that's
really,
just
I'm
a
so
foolish
sorry.
idea.
Yeah, get it removed.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
You're just sort of creating a rod for your own back.
I've never heard that expression. Is
Yeah.
that a Zen?
I got it off catchphrase, so yes.
Just see what you see. See what you see.
So what you see.
All right, go on. Next
Talking
question.
of bracelets, you see this bracelet here? Well, we're off on a tangent.
Go on.
Somebody stopped me in the street the other day and
Yeah.
said, would you like some information about Hare Krishna and Buddhism?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, yes, I would.
Yes, I would.
And they were like, oh, I see you've got some Buddhist beads on.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, this is a Daniel Bryan bracelet. He's a wrestler. And they're like, oh, and just sort of wandered off.
You can. How many beads is it though? Count them on air. That would be fun.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 2 little ones.
No. Has to be 18 or 108. Otherwise, it's not. Doesn't count. It's not real. You can't pray to Buddha with it. Otherwise.
It's like the Islamic one that has 33, 33 and 34.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a lot like that. Yeah. I was just about to say. What was that?
Has numbers and beads, so it's basically the same in the Venn diagram. You're broke, you're down to your last £100. What'd you blow it on? Stilettos, night out.
No, not stilettos.
Takeaway, nothing at
Because I've
all.
already got shoes. Takeaway, I don't have fortune cookies, so I'm not going to get takeaway. Otherwise, I would get takeaway, but since it's brought fortune cookies, no. Night out at the bar, that seems expensive. No.
So you're going for nothing at all?
Yeah, I'll save it.
Good plan.
Thank you.
It's a very Miranda answer, but whatever.
Is it? Oh. I am quite a Miranda. I've always said I'm a bit of a Miranda. I'm a Miranda girl.
Before I ask you this question, I just want you to know that all these answers are pretty much me. Which stereotype do you find yourself most attracted to?
Right.
The gentleman, the charmer, the intellectual, the player. All those answers may as well just say
Yeah.
Matt.
Well, I don't know why you have to insist on trying to...
MLW.
You're trying to make yourself...
Pick one. But I'll pick one for you because it's basically me. So all the answers
Say
are
them
the
again.
same.
Say them again. I was preoccupied by the weird sexual vibe that you're putting onto me.
the gentleman,
Makes me a bit uncomfortable.
the charmer, the intellectual, the player.
Right, gentlemen are generally pussies.
Pussy holes.
Ridiculous. Get rid of them.
Boo. Not me, that one.
Intellectual, nerd.
Nerd, boring, not me.
Player, they might go off with someone else.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be the charmer, which is me.
The charmer.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a charmer.
You got those smooth moves.
Yeah, if there are any ladies listening.
A little wink. Off air wink.
No, it's on air. I'll do it again.
He did it.
Yeah, I did it. Thanks.
What is the closest to your idea of a perfect first date? A picnic followed by a horse-drawn carriage ride through Central Park. Let's replace Central Park with Riversley Park.
Yeah.
It's hard to squeeze one into your busy schedule. A power lunch will have to do. A one-night stand, the perfect first and last date. Ooh. A glitzy show on Broadway, stroke the Abbey Theatre, followed by some witty banter over ice cream sundaes.
I would say a one night stand, because
Yeah.
that's just me. That's who I am.
Lean, mean sex machine.
I'm just always fucking,
Yeah,
you know,
you are.
all the time.
Can never get hold of you.
Yeah.
Your philosophy on love goes a little something like this. Never settle for anything less than butterflies. Love schmov. You can live without love, but not without sex.
Yeah.
There's Prince Charming for everyone, and if you're lucky, you'll find him sooner rather than later.
I would say Prince Charming for everyone. That's a pipe dream. There's not just one perfect guy out there for me.
And what if he lives in Fiji?
Yeah, what if he lives in Fiji? And I'm also straight, so that's out the window.
Out the window. Boom!
What are some of the others?
Never settle for anything less than butterflies.
What are some of the others?
Love schmov.
No, love shmov out the window, because there is such thing as love. Otherwise there won't be that song by Huey Lewis in the News. Power of love. Don't need credit cards to drive that train.
Huey Lewis.
And the news.
You can live without love, but not without sex.
That
Sexual
is,
intercourse.
I would say that, because I'm having sex probably every day of my entire life. Since the age of about 14, I've had sex non-stop. Before then, I had sex maybe once a week. But since 14, it's been
More
daily
regular.
affair. But I can live without it very easily, because I'm an altogether tied up dude. You know, I've got my shit in place.
Handy guy. Did
Yeah.
you go like that as a joke?
No, I didn't.
Was
Did
it
I just do a
masturbating?
masturbate?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
That was a...
I don't think I did. I think I gestured. I just,
You did gesture. Indeed you did, my friend. Indeed you did.
I could probably go 10 years.
10 years
without
sex.
ejaculating. I can do.
I watched a little Vice documentary about a guy who didn't masturbate or have sex for a year. Mm-hmm. I just felt sorry for him. It was art or something, but I just thought it was a bit of a cock.
I can do it. Oh, it was art.
Yeah,
Oh, that's stupid.
I hate art.
Yeah, I hate when people do things that they say is art, but it's just attention
It's just
seeking.
doing something.
Yeah, for attention.
Boo.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't settle less for butterflies, personally.
Next question. Over halfway through now. The guy you've been seeing reveals that he still talks to his ex every day.
No.
Your reaction?
Every day?
Every day.
What?
Every single
Who
day.
talks to their ex every day?
Every day. Your reaction is...
Jesus.
1. Make him choose. It's either you or her.
Yeah.
B. Working some simple questions to find out if he still has feelings for you.
one? Because you said one, then B.
Work
I'll say
out.
that again, because I wasn't paying attention.
Work in some subtle questions to find out if he still has feelings for her.
Right.
You like him, but you don't want to go with baggage. 3. Will she still be calling him when you're married? D.
That's not a course of action. That's just a question.
She can have his heart. All you want is his hot body anyway.
Cock. I would go for D. I want his D.
You want
his
his D?
big, fat, healthy, nutritious D.
Nutritious D.
Yeah.
Still available on iTunes.
Yeah. Download the only 2 episodes.
Yeah. I think one was like a 10-minute pilot.
Maybe.
That'll be played on some documentaries in the future.
Yeah.
Never
Did
before.
you know that Phil and Matt of TFC actually did an audio sketch show called Nutritious DS?
Will be awarded awards for it
Yeah.
a long way in the future.
Yeah. Not yet, but one day it'll happen.
The guy who's been eyeing you all night
Yeah.
finally comes over and hits on you.
Oh, hello. God.
This line, it works like a bloody charm. What are we having for breakfast tomorrow morning? You have the sweetest smile I've ever seen. Would I be able to see it again sometime? Say, this Friday at 8. Can I buy you a drink? I don't normally do this, but I noticed you the moment you walked in. If you don't have a boyfriend, which is highly unlikely,
Yeah.
I'd like to get to know you better.
I would have said... it would have been the guy who said, that's a great smile, can I see it again Friday at 8? But I'm busy Friday at 8.
That's
so
awkward.
it can't be him. No one said anything about falling from heaven or walking around my mind all day or anything like that. So I'm sort of finding it difficult to choose.
Are you from Jamaica? Because you're Jamaican me crazy.
Exactly, because you're making me crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Are you from Damascus? No? Alright. Cool. It's a bit of a weird question, I admit. Are you from Dubai? I don't know. I've got to start thinking of them before saying them. Are you from Russia? Because I'm rushing towards you. Yeah?
You're already there.
Yeah, but you say that while strolling towards them quickly.
Do you live on a chicken farm? Because you sure know how to raise a cock. Your dick just died. Would you mind if I buried it in your ass?
What? What the fuck? How about this one? Oh, look at you. I'd love to just get in there.
Do you work at Subway? Because you just gave me a foot long.
Nah, that's crap.
These are just...
How about...
I'm reading them offline. I'm not making them up.
I'm making some up. How about... describe the girl to me, then I'll come up with the perfect pickup line.
Okay, she's 5'5", blonde hair, blue eyes, about 350 pounds. Got all her teeth.
Yeah.
She's wearing flip-flops.
Yeah. Where are we? Where are we that she's wearing flip-flops?
Post office.
Okay.
And
Are we queuing or is she...
Yeah, queuing. And she's talking really loudly on the phone about how much she hates queuing in the post office. She goes, I'm just surrounded by all these fucking losers and they're so smelly.
Yeah, I know what to do here. I've
not finished. And she's got a backpack on.
Yeah.
And she's sewed little patches in that say things like rough cuts, misfits, Sex Pistols, anarchy in the UK.
Right, so she's a bit punk
Never
rock.
mind the bollocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And £350.
£350. So she's quite overweight.
Oh, yeah.
She's quite fat. What is she wearing? Is she wearing like sweatpants?
She's wearing flip-flops.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see she's wearing a jumper that says on it a university she's never been to or visited.
Yeah. And 3/4?
Yeah. Camo 3/4.
Camo 3/4. I wouldn't...
and a chain that links from her belt to a wallet.
Obviously. I wouldn't use a pickup line in this instance. She seems like the sort of gal who responds to physicality. So I would queue a lot closer to her and just sort of rub up against her, like, sexually. I'd muster up an erection somehow, but I'd probably just get some porn on my phone.
Yeah.
Watch it for a minute, get an erection.
M.pornhub.com.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Maybe I'd use Pornhub, it depends what mood I'm in. And I'd just press that right up against the back. How tall did you say she was?
5'5".
Yeah, right up against the back. Small of a back. And she would know straight away.
Can you decide where the small of the back even is at this?
The large of her back. I'd put it in one of the folds, probably.
Just rest it in.
Yeah, I'd just rest it right in there. And she'd turn around and say, what are you doing? I'd say, you're fat.
You are disgusting. Yeah. Let's have sex.
You fat fucking fatty. That's what I'd say. I don't have anything against fat people, personally. But in this hypothetical...
Yeah, you're talking dirty.
Yeah, I'm talking dirty to her. She loves it. What's the next question?
Well, we've not quite answered this one. Shall I just pick one?
Yeah, just pick D.
Okay. Your ideal post-coital, that means after sexual intercourse, activity is feeding each other strawberries and cream while dreaming about your future fan.
No.
People actually stick around, ? You're dressed and out of there the minute it's over. not cleaning or anything, no kind of cum dispensing,
Yeah.
just leaving.
Yeah.
Racking up some cuddle points and simply enjoying each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to work, you can't afford to spend any more time out of the office.
Right, the first one, strawberries and cream,
Yeah.
that requires preparation. You'd have to go to the kitchen, whip up some cream.
Or
Get
bring
some
them with you, which sort of ruins the moment
Well,
afterwards.
they'd be all watery.
Yeah,
and
the
shit.
cream
After
would've-
7 hours, they'd be so warm.
Yeah.
Number 2, which is, do people really stick around? I don't have Asperger's.
Yeah, you know what happens.
Yeah.
I've seen it on porn.
Yeah,
so.
I've seen it on loads of porn.
And on film.
You just come on their face and then it fades to black.
Yeah, wipe your dick on the curtain.
Yeah.
And then face to
On the
back.
curtain. Number 3, what was number 3 again?
Racking up some cuddle points.
I don't believe in physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd have to be number 4, get straight back to work, just put it back in.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
The new guy at work is the most gorgeous man you've ever laid eyes on.
Hang on a minute, is this aimed towards women?
Doesn't say.
Is it aimed towards people who are attracted to men? Does it not say?
Potentially. Potentially.
Alright, carry on.
That'll probably be our pizza.
Again, it's just weird that we're on the 47th floor of TFC Towers and people are getting a lot of vehicles into the green room. I'm not annoyed about it or anything. Fair enough. If you can drive a moped into the green room, we'll see you afterwards. But he seems to have driven off as well. I don't know where he's gone.
Just gone to floor 48, whatever's up there. We don't
It's
go
the
up there.
Sarah Wilkinson Memorial Aquarium. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Sarah.
She used to do the beauty tips for the Bedside Chronicles, that podcast that has been discontinued since the hosts. Well, no, their mysterious disappearance.
Okay.
We don't say death. Yeah, but she died mysteriously as well. I think they murdered her.
Who knows? I'm not one to say, but yeah.
It seems
Yeah,
like
they
they're
did, didn't
like,
they? Kicked her head off.
Yeah,
The new guy at work is the most gorgeous man you've ever laid eyes on.
right.
To get his attention, you introduce yourself. You flirt a little bit, making sure that he notices
Your boobs
both your mind
and your tits.
and your cleavage.
Right.
Number 2, make sure to impress him with your dazzling insights and sharp input at the next office meeting. Have your puppy accidentally get away from you, then offer to buy him lunch in gratitude for saving it from the path of an oncoming taxi,
What?
which is risking an animal's life.
What if he doesn't save it?
If he just goes, pull him into your office, close the door, shut the blinds, and proceed to make out with him.
Ooh, that last one sounds like it could cause a misunderstanding.
Bit rapey.
Sexual assault. The dog one, that is harming animals, putting an animal's life in danger.
Do you own a dog?
I could get a dog.
Yeah.
Do you want a dog?
No, I'm good.
I could get you one.
How much?
40 quid?
Nah.
20 quid?
Nah.
I'll do it for £12.
Deal.
Yeah, cool. What sort of dog do you want? Small or big?
Who cares?
Medium, I'll get
Animal,
medium.
innit?
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Do you want one that you've got to feed or one that's already dead?
Feed, give it leftovers.
Right, live dog, gotcha. What was number 1? Because I can't remember.
Introduce yourself, flirt a little bit,
Cleavage. What was number 2?
impress him at the next office meeting.
That's stupid. I don't have a cleavage either, so I would kill a dog for him, yeah.
Kill a dog.
Sacrifice a dog.
Number 3, kill a dog. The best way to mend a broken heart is to chastise yourself for a week.
What? Is that just, you just letting me know?
Keep reminding yourself that the one is still out there waiting for you. Go on a revenge diet and get your own boy toy.
Yeah.
Lean on your girlfriends and a pint of ice cream for your support.
That last one has ice cream in it.
Yeah,
And if I can have multiple girlfriends
Girlfriends.
and ice cream, I'll have that one, please.
that can only go well.
That sounds great.
Right, get resort. Are you ready?
Yes. I'm thinking I'm either Miranda or Samantha.
You are Carrie.
Oh, I'm not Carrie, am I? Oh, shit. Go on, what does it say?
Brilliant. You know what you want out of a relationship, and you're not afraid to keep moving on until you get it. Wit and charm are your biggest turns on, of course.
Yeah,
And
obviously.
you like guys who appreciate you for your mind as much as your body. You have fun playing the dating game, but secretly you just can't wait to find the guy who sweeps you off your feet and carries you into the sunset.
Carries you into the sunset. See
Hello.
what I did there? It's clever. I'm happy with that.
You've done well.
What did you get, Samantha?
I've not done it.
But let's say Samantha.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I always pegged you as a Samantha gal.
I am a Samantha girl.
You've got that air about you. You've got that aura.
I'm just going to let all our fans know.
What are you doing? Are you doing a tweet or something?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Shall we move on to something heavier or equally light?
Equally light.
Equally
Just get
light.
that all out of the way.
You're a big fan of Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian. Yes, I am.
Who gives a fuck? Fuck tapes Kim Kardashian, sorry.
Fuck tapes Kim Kardashian. By the way, A-lister on Kim Kardashian Hollywood, whatever.
Now, how many people play Kim Kardashian Hollywood, the iPhone app that we talked about a couple of episodes ago?
Enough, I would presume.
Probably like a billion.
Yeah.
Let's see how many reviews has it got on the App Store. App Store. Kim Kardashian. Oh, that Cosmo's giving me heartburn. It has 7,400 reviews. So let's say... Oh, and on the Android store it has 200,000 reviews.
Blimey.
Where are you ranked on the leaderboard?
Let me just have a little check, because apparently my energy's full.
Okay.
89th.
That's insane. That's so crazy.
89th. 25.4 million fans.
Probably in the first percentile of Kim Kardashian players.
If you're better than me, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I'm better than you because I haven't played.
Yeah, that's true. You've not.
Anyway, Kim Kardashian, in 2015, guess what she's going to release?
Follow up to her sex tape with Ray J, but with Kanye. That would be
That'd be brilliant.
That would be a huge seller.
Yeah, that would.
If you think of all the blockbusters.
Yeah.
Coming out in 2015, whatever they are. I don't know.
Star Wars VII.
We needed somebody.
Probably going to be the biggest movie in history.
We needed
in the history of
somebody
cinema.
to have chatted about movies or something last week. Yeah, I can't really think of anything.
No.
Say,
really.
Ignoring box office because I wouldn't be able to show it at cinemas, but on pure units sold or downloaded,
Yeah.
it would make top 20.
Yeah, it made top 20.
It would probably make top 10.
Yeah.
Because Kim's huge and Kanye's.
We
massive.
don't know if it's huge. We don't know yet. We've not seen it.
I've seen it on the radio one.
What, Kanye?
Kanye, no. He's probably huge because he's black.
Well, yeah, but you don't know.
Kim Kardashian is huge. Like breast-wise and ass-wise.
But
and her puss is reg.
Reg puss. What if Kim... No, not Kim. What if Kanye has a tiny dick?
No.
Wouldn't that be a shocker?
That would be a surprise.
Because you wouldn't think it, would you? You imagine him because he's black.
He's not very tall, though, is he?
Does that have a bearing on that?
I don't know. People always say it do, but I'm hung like a horse.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. And I'm, like, not tall, but fairly average. And I've got a tiny one.
Yeah, it's weird how that works.
It doesn't really work like that. But no, it's not a Kanye sex tape that she's releasing in 2015.
No, that's a shame.
It's a book.
A book?
Yeah.
Do we have a title?
Yes, it's called Selfish by Kim Kardashian.
Good title.
Do you know why it's called Selfish? Because she isn't writing anything in the book. It's going to be just selfies.
She's just releasing a selfie book.
Yeah.
Are they going to be interesting selfies?
Just selfies.
Are they going to be like, I'm just in the car? Or is it going to be like, here's me and a famous person. Here's me at, Nuneaton and Bedworth Museum.
With TFC's own Phil and Matt. I imagine that Phil and Matt will make an appearance. I imagine that there will be a few celebrity ones.
Just
But
a
largely-
TLDR chapter, I imagine.
Yeah, there'll be Chapter 7, TLDR, I would have thought. But she said that the reason she's doing it is because when she was on vacation in Thailand earlier this year,
Yeah.
guess how many selfies she took?
How long was she on vacation for?
I'm not sure, let's find out. Kim Kardashian Thailand vacation.
While you do that, I'll just read a few tweets
right.
about this. What the fuck? Says Lithia Catty Cat. Oh, reality star doing book of selfies, aptly named Selfish. Does it get any more narcissistic? Said Melissa Hoyer. Okay, said Maria A. Blanchard.
You're picking some winners here.
Kim Kardashian is publishing a book of selfies, ? Oh well. Kim Kardashian is publishing a book called Selfish. I need this book. Just all the great ones, really. Just picking some very good ones. Rather cut my scrotum off,
Oh dear.
said Beatnik Brian.
If you cut your scrotum off, won't your balls fall out?
Yeah. Yeah, they will.
Yeah, leave that on. Do you know where in Thailand she went? The funniest named place in the whole world.
Phuket.
Fuck it, yeah.
Yeah.
She went to fuck it. I don't know how long for, but guess how many selfies she took?
403.
1,200.
1,200?
1,200 selfies she took.
Say she was there, even for a month.
Yeah.
That's 30 days.
Yeah.
That's like 40 a day.
Yeah.
She's 2 every hour if she's awake every hour.
Yeah. I'm not sure how... Yeah, I don't know how you would manage to even do that. She would have to be taking... What she would have to do is she would have to do, like, every single day, she has, like, a few little bursts of selfie sessions where she takes, like, 100. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe she did that, yeah. The mode. Which is difficult to spell, so I can never Google it. But yeah, she probably used the mode. But anyway, she was going to make a book for Kanye for his birthday. She said, like, I don't know what to get Kanye for his birthday, so I'm just going to make him a book of selfies. And then now she's just going to make that and release it.
352 pages it's going to be.
Is it?
And it's going to make her so much money.
Is it, though?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Is it, though?
Yes.
Is it, though?
Yes, it will.
Will it, though?
I don't know how much books make you, but...
They've made me quite a lot. Most of my books have been about how to manipulate women into having sex with you.
Oh, you're number one on the Pirate Bay audiobook download page, yeah.
If you're on the Pirate Bay audiobooks, the first 10 pages is all me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
101 ways to gain confidence in the office place.
Yeah. Using crystals. Yeah.
But she has to put zero work into it. She has to hire nobody. There's no ghostwriting. She doesn't pay anything towards this.
She probably just sends an email to the publisher with attached 1,000 selfies, say pick the best ones.
That's it. They publish it. They take 30%.
Yeah.
She can't lose any money from it. There's nothing to lose from it. What can she lose?
No, yeah, that's literally true.
Other than dignity and credibility, but she's already lost that amongst anyone that will lose it from doing this.
Well, what if they project that she'll sell loads because of all this internet buzz? So they print like 1 million books and it only sells like 10. Then she
won't lose any money.
She would.
The printers would lose money.
Yeah, but
her management would probably lose some money.
Yeah, but her estate probably wouldn't.
Yeah, they're not going to lose anything.
Would I?
Yeah. You won't lose anything either.
Good.
Look,
if I buy the book, I will.
You'll cut maybe 20% to your management who sort it out, find a publisher, etc. They'll get 20-25%.
Why do you know this? How do you know all this?
Yeah, I've written a few books in my time. And she'll get between 40 to 60%.
Yeah.
And she'll probably have in her contract, her legal team will put it in, they might get a cut. That if it doesn't sell the amount printed, that money comes out of publishing or out of her management. She's not going to lose anything.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's like...
The detail that you know
it is like her app.
Publishing books is crazy.
It is like her app. She did absolutely zero work other than, wow, you look really good in that new suit. I would like to invite you to my birthday party. That's it. That's all she did, and everyone else did all the money, and she gets like 40% of it. So,
do you reckon she had any creative control, any sort of input?
No. She probably said, "Will I be the thing that everybody who plays the game aspires to be?"
Yeah.
Go ahead. I've got selfies to take.
I've got work to do.
Yeah.
What does she do every day?
In the office.
She's
still on that show, isn't she? She still does Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have a kid or Kanye in it. So I imagine she sort of goes around her mum's house.
Yeah.
Goes, oh my god.
Okay, every day. Yeah.
And then just flies about.
Loads of money.
I imagine she has like fashion ranges and she's also married to fucking Kanye West.
Yeah.
She could just rock up, go on tour with him, sit about.
She could just be a groupie of his, basically.
Yeah.
How long is that going to last, by the way?
Well, they're both sort of mental. She's mental.
That's true, yeah.
And he's very, very mental.
Yeah.
But sort of good mental. Like, you wouldn't want to be around him or know him or have anything to do with him.
Yeah.
But what he produces is sometimes quite good.
Yeah, like, but he thinks it's amazing, though.
Yeah, but...
There was a list published online a while ago of the list of all the people he's ever compared himself to. And it was like
Jesus.
100, like, yeah, literally, like
well,
Disney,
his album's called, like,
Albert
Jesus.
Einstein, yeah.
But, you know, Is that him being mental, or is that him just playing up to that? I'm crazy. Look how crazy I am.
Maybe
this is
to an
making me
extent.
money because every time he says, "I'm the new Nelson Mandela," people will go, "What the fuck's he talking about?"
Yeah.
Bang, 15 internet articles in a minute, 1,000 overnight. You get it. It's just marketing yourself.
Do you think it is? Do you think that's what it is?
I think he's a arrogant, multi-millionaire, talented musician.
Yeah.
Musician. I don't know if he plays music or he just raps and writes, but he's gone. Oh, I'm not just gonna do that. I'm gonna make myself the first name on people's lips when they think of like rap or they think of crazy pop stars.
Yeah. The first name on my lips when I think of rap is Riff Raff.
Riff Raff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, Riff Raff.
Riff Raff.
So it's just business, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
And he's got more money than he'll ever need.
I mean, the fact that Kim Kardashian has called this book Selfish, which, by the way, you can see the cover for it here.
Yeah, I'm looking
It's a
at it
selfie. The fact that she's called it Selfish is quite telling. In that, selfish, the word selfish really is a negative descriptor, and she obviously knows that because she's from Earth and she speaks English.
Yeah.
So I imagine there is a bit of self-awareness there. Like, I don't mean self-awareness in the sense that it's like tongue-in-cheek or anything like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe she is playing to that thing of like,
Well,
oh, look how selfish I am. Oh,
I think
I'm
you
narcissistic.
have to play to it. Otherwise, you spend your entire life career trying to prove to everybody that already doesn't like you that you're something you're not.
Yeah, but you're still preaching to the people who don't like you. It's just that you're confirming their message rather than ignoring it. Well, not ignoring it, but going against.
But it's that whole everyone who gets questioned about it. Oh, what do you think of the people that don't like you, etc., etc. They're like, well, haters are going to hate is usually the answer.
Yeah.
And so instead of putting energy into that, they put energy into what has worked and made them millions of pounds already.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian has more money than we'll ever see.
Yeah.
For doing very little, really.
Yeah.
So she'll.
Well, it's quite big.
She'll do that.
Yeah.
150% more. And so all the people that liked what she did are now really going to like what she's going to do.
Yeah. I see what
And
you're saying.
eventually, if you push that too far, people are going to go, oh, this is just ridiculous now, and it'll die off.
Are they ever though?
Well, she can't keep doing this until she's 50.
She could if she.
If she was clever about it, she could, but she can't
Well,
keep...
you look at Kris Jenner. How old is she? And she's made a lot of money for herself by doing this.
But that's off other people. That's not
it
her
is.
own back. Like, Kim Kardashian's whole thing is, she's...
how hot I am.
Yeah, I'm hot.
But
That goes away.
But look at the amount of like clout she's got. Like, imagine if she does like imagine if she does. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He appeared in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
He was all like making fun of himself and being
it's
crazy
great.
and stuff like that. And everyone loved it.
Yeah.
And before then, people weren't all that keen on Tom Cruise because he'd shown himself to be mental and a Scientologist and all that.
Yeah,
But
Tom
then
Cruise, to me, because I was born after, really, his heyday.
Yeah.
Like Top Gun, Risky Business, was it?
How crazy is that we were born after his heyday, but he's still
making
like an A-lister?
killer movies.
Yeah.
That Edge of Tomorrow is meant to be great.
Yeah, it's meant to be really good.
But all those movies he's famous for, and even to a certain extent Mission Impossible, we were quite young when that came out,
yeah.
they were like in his prime acting. The first time I really noticed him doing something then, in the moment, was when he leapt on the couch.
Yeah.
On Conan or whatever it was.
Something.
Like Jimmy
Oprah, maybe?
Oprah, it could have been any of them.
Yeah.
They're all much for muchness. And I was like, oh, he's a bit mental. I'd seen his films by this point, but in the same way you see old, Travolta movies or De Niro movies.
But you have no concept of them as a public figure or as a character in
And
themselves.
so I was like, oh shit, he's a bit mental then. The whole Scientology thing came out. Then the whole, he's married.
Yeah. But then he turned it around with Tropic
twice, is he
Thunder.
gay?
So imagine if Kim, at some point, did something where she completely made fun of herself. She would buy herself another 10 years.
Yeah,
She definitely
she probably will.
Like, she's so far in her career, there has been no real self-awareness, or at least no tongue-in-cheek self-awareness, no parody of herself, no self-deprecation or anything.
Because she doesn't need to.
No, she doesn't need to. But when she loses the looks, she could pull that out easily and start doing that, and she could become a parody of herself. But then there's a thin line to tread. Like, do
Yeah.
you become Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Do you become any of those numerous people who used to be laughable and now they're making money off being laughable? But still, really, they're just laughable.
The Mike Tyson's one interesting. I know we spoke about it the other day, but he's gone from being like arguably the most feared man in the world because not only was he the best boxer in the world, but he had a rape conviction.
Yeah.
He was like saying, "I'm going to eat your heart. I'm going to, fuck you till you love me." All this sort of, whether it was selling fights or he was a bit mental, and he just seemed off the edge converting to Islam, keeping the pigeons, whatever, and then everything sort of went wrong. He did The Hangover, and we went, "Oh, he's sort of self-aware."
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then he said, "Hello, I can make money off this," and he's now doing it and doing it and doing it.
With that cartoon series.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson Mysteries.
And he's everywhere.
I see that as a possibility for people like Kim. Maybe. Although, I did see another article posted. This isn't a TLDR thing, but I'll bring it up anyway.
It is. It's on air now, son.
Yeah, that's true.
Boom!
There was another article that was posted somewhere on the internet, like last week or something.
Probably TFC Podcast.
It's probably TFC Podcast, like on my homepage. And it was about how among teenagers, all of the, according to like a poll by some magazine or something, all of the most influential and popular figures are all YouTube stars. None of them are like A-list celebrities. They're all like vloggers and stuff like that.
That's interesting. Well, we were having this conversation the other day, weren't we, about Vine?
Yeah, Vine, yeah.
And how we're now at an age where we're sort of missing out on this sort of teen sort of big superstars and hits and trends.
Yeah.
Because we're just not there anymore. We don't know anybody who is there. But they still exist and they still have a lot of pulling power because these people 3, 4, 5 years down the road are going to be the sort of next generation of adults, teenagers, money-spending consumers.
Yeah, yeah.
And they can either stick with what they're doing, which is, great for 14-year-olds, or they can branch that into something else and already have a mass following into it.
Yeah. Here's, have you heard of Nash Greer? This is something that's on HuffingtonPost.com. You have?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about him? Because I don't.
He's another Viner.
Yeah, he's a Vine star and he's like 16 years old. There's another one that I've heard of is called Matthew Espinoza.
Yeah.
And these are all people who are like 16-year-old sort of basically like sexy young boys.
Yeah,
it's basically what it is. Weird. It's very weird.
It's weird to talk about it as a sort
uncomfortable.
of officially illegal adult.
Yeah.
Which still is weird to me. But to be like this sort of pubescent underage child is making his whole living, and he's making a living off it. These people, because they're
making a lot of money. In fact,
have millions of views on Vine, whatever, off being attractive.
Yeah,
but attractive mainly to
underage girls.
Yeah. And do we talk about that? Is that fine? Do we go because they're both underage? It's fine.
It is. I mean,
but do we?
I don't think it's healthy because I've talked to some of the people who like these people. I keep a cabal of underage girls on my, friends lists and etc. Just for if I ever need them. And they all seem to have unhealthy attachments to these Vine people and YouTube stars and stuff like that. And I say unhealthy because this isn't like the days of like Elvis, where all you could do really is go to a concert and go ah. And this isn't even Justin Bieber where you can go ah, but also you can like comment on his YouTube videos and like tweet him stuff. But this is like these people have like Snapchat, like you can send them snaps and send them back and stuff like that. These are like there's a potential for some sort of direct communication with these people.
And so we didn't have that even in our.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's
because when was I 50? Like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, we
didn't have that.
Yeah,
2007. I don't know who I looked up to even then. I don't know.
No, I can't really think of anyone. But it's weird that we're both around 21-ish.
Yeah.
You'll be 21 soon, I think.
27th? Ladies.
And like, even in the few years that it's been since we were teenagers, being a teenager has changed so much.
Massively.
Like, if you're a teenager, if you're like a 14-year-old girl now, you've probably seen about 100 dicks.
100 dicks.
Like, yeah, easily, no exaggeration.
Easily 100 dicks.
If you have like Kik and stuff like that, all these messaging apps and Snapchat and whatever, you've probably seen a lot of dicks, and you probably don't really mind because it's just normal.
You don't really think about it.
Whereas for
because
us,
you have no concept of that.
I mean, it's sort of normal.
You're not accepting it, going, "This is brilliant," but you're going, "Well, you know, this happens to all me and all my friends."
Exactly, yeah.
So
Whereas
it's
for
just
us,
a norm.
if you think of when we were teenagers, the extent that had gotten to was basically MSN Messenger.
Yeah,
that was basically it. It's like
you got some very early webcams that were bad, and you might
and they were pixelated
just see a bit
jittery.
of
Yeah,
and it would be great. You know, there was all the porn in the world, but porn isn't personal.
But even back then, porn was different.
Yeah, it was different, but it existed in a massive way.
Yeah, but you didn't stream porn back in like 04 or something like that. You had to like download videos.
And I did.
Yeah, I only did a few times though. I'd look at pictures.
Do you remember in year 5 or 6, I had those porn cards?
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah. Where did you get those?
I really don't know.
We would have been about 11?
Yeah.
10, 11?
It's weird, isn't it? A guy got charged recently. I don't know if he got charged or he got a criminal record or a caution or something.
For what?
Sending a nude of himself to a girl.
How old were they?
They were like all underage.
Oh, right. Then what's wrong with that? This is a case of the law not catching up with culture. And it's just that culture's changing so
prosecution.
rapidly.
You got it was this week. No, it wasn't this week. It was a month ago.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you can't really outlaw it because how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like I think there should be education. A 17-year-old from Virginia faced felony charges for possession of child pornography after he allegedly texted nude images of himself to his 15-year-old girlfriend.
So the possession of child pornography is photographs of his own dick. Does that count as
distribution? I suppose, isn't it? Manufacturing and possession.
That's weird.
It makes no sense, really. Because what are you going to gain from that? You're just going to create a whole generation of felons.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even if it's not felons, people with criminal records.
Yeah. And
criminal records for, what...
Things that everyone does. Literally everybody does it.
When you're 30 and I look on your CV... I do your criminal record background check, and it says manufacturing and possession of child pornography.
Yeah, you don't...
I'm not thinking, oh, well, he was 17. I'm thinking, no.
Yeah, you're not thinking, oh, it might have been a selfie. Yeah, that person's life is, let's not say ruined, but made a lot more difficult because of that.
And it just doesn't make sense. If you shouldn't really be sending pictures of your cock.
But I do anyway.
You
can't tell me what to do, mate.
But
why are you telling me what to do?
If you're both underage, then
well, she is. I'm not, so it's fine.
Then that's one thing, and it's the whole evolution of sexual exploration, which 50 years ago was wanking off, seeing a bit of bum.
Yeah.
50
years ago was the 60s.
Okay, that was Summer of Love and all that malarkey. But at some point, there was no internet. There was it was flirting. It was have you ever seen the film Porky's?
No.
Well, it's basically like a sort of sex comedy, and the scene there's a sort of peephole into the girls' changing rooms, and it was like, I don't know if it was one of the first mainstream fully nude scenes, but
when was this released?
Like 70s.
Yeah.
And there's like bush and things. And you're like, oh, okay, great. And it was literally that.
Yeah.
You get to college like 19, 20, and that's as close as you get. You have no contact with women really up until that point. Whereas when we were 14, 15, 16, you have contact with girls and everyone sort of knows about sex and talks about it, but very few people actually do it.
Yeah.
And you just sort of watch porn and you're like, oh, okay, this is weird but great. And it's sort of... I suppose even... like 11, 12 is when most people start like masturbating, male-wise, and it's then onwards into puberty. But now...
Yeah, now it's...
This is just...
beginning to change.
But this is just an evolution of that.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I don't think
in the same way that, every porn site says, are you over 18?
Yeah.
When you're 13, 14, 15, you go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just out of intrigue, are you breaking a law by doing that? Maybe officially. But should you be charged with that? No.
No. Yeah, it's
Not at
something
all.
that doesn't really have much consequence. But like, we could be heading into a future where people, like, the average age that you started to have sex is a lot lower, and the average number of people you've had
Gets
sex
lower
with
and
is a
lower.
lot higher and stuff like that. And
Well, I
a lot of
always
people might
about
think
this.
that's a bad thing, but I think it's probably going to lead to better, not sexual health as in physical health, but it's probably going to lead to worse sexual health as in physical health. But it's going to lead to a healthier mindset towards sex, probably, because we're a very sexually repressed society. So
Yeah.
just this sudden onslaught of dick pics, basically, let's call it the dick pic phenomenon,
The dick
because
pic
it's
phenomenon.
mostly dick pics, is, it's going to force people to be a bit less sexually repressed. And if you're at a very early age, you're an impressionable age,
Yeah.
then that's what you know. You don't know the sexual repression that your parents know.
There needs to be, like with everything, a fine balance between, extreme sexual repression that you get in, say, Japanese culture that then leads to the crazy porn that they have and,
Yeah, and the
the
weird
social interactions that they have.
Like go and hug someone for 20 years or whatever.
Going, like cuddle booths and all that.
Yeah.
Because you have such extreme sexuality in media and anime and whatever. You can buy like used underwear and stuff.
Yeah, out of like vending machines.
But then socially and in person, it's almost non-existent.
Yeah.
And so you do sort of need to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Whether we will or not, I don't know. But I was thinking the other day, and this is, more personal to me, but I wonder how many people my family think I've slept with, if any. Because I don't talk about it. It's something nobody talks about.
Yeah.
I'm not popping around my grandparents' house going, oh yeah, I had some sex yesterday, it was well good.
Yeah.
And they're not, to me.
Well, they would probably assume you've had sex with your girlfriend.
Yeah, but I mean, is that it? Is that...
Yeah,
What do they... Like, I don't... What I consider as, like, normal behaviour, I don't know they would. Like, I could go...
Yeah, they might have totally different norms and values and stuff.
Like, within our, generation, friend group, whatever you want to call it, if we go into town now, go into a club, meet a girl, take her home, have sex with her, never speak to her again, as long as you're safe about it, like, sexually, whatever, nobody will bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
Especially amongst guys, less so amongst girls, whatever. But that's changing. If I'm like, oh, I had sex with some girl last night, you'd be like, oh, okay, brilliant, that's not really...
I wouldn't. I'd ask you to draw it for me.
Yeah, you'd be like, pics or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I got a vid, mate.
Yeah.
But if I went to parents, grandparents, any other generation removed and said,
They might have a problem.
I went into town with some friends and we went drinking. Oh yeah, well, I had sex with some girl in your front room.
Yeah.
Okay, not even their front room because that makes it under
Yeah,
their roof,
that adds
but in my house.
Yeah.
They were like, what? Why would you do that?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, there might be some weird mental block that they have that we just don't have. And then by the same token, we might have certain mental blocks that people only 5 or 6 years younger than us don't have.
Yeah.
Because of all of these, all this new media sort of stuff. And as well, like, if you ask someone who's like 40 years old, do you know what Kik is? Do you know what Snapchat is?
Yeah.
They very likely either won't know what it is or will only have a passing knowledge of what
I've
it is.
heard of it.
Yeah. Like, they won't know, they won't understand that it's very normal for someone to, like, of an evening, to just sit down, watch TV and sex with someone, or, like, send and receive nude pictures from someone, like,
and it
on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Like, there's something that maybe most teenagers, or a lot of teenagers do.
Well, we're in a period where we're in communication with other people more than we ever have been.
Yeah.
And, that could lead, the other end of sort of weird social repression in person. But I can talk to somebody anywhere in the world right now. Like on my phone, I have like 4 or 5 notifications, like texts and people and just...
Yeah. It just blows
from all
up
over the world. Whether it's...
from, like...
And Facebook and Twitter, etc., are one thing, but they're less personal. Everyone can see that.
Yeah.
Whereas-
That's not like a one-on-one thing. Whereas, like, Kik, for example...
I can suck my balls to people all over the world, and only they'll
I thought
see
Suck My Balls was a person. I've got... There's someone on my Kik contacts called Hot Dick for Ladies. It's my favourite Kik name ever.
Hot Dick for Ladies.
Yeah. Used the number 4 as well, just to save some time. Yeah. Which is brilliant.
And that's the thing, where will that sort of peak? Will it peak?
Yeah, what will happen with it? It's weird to think about what will happen. Because so far, if you look at if you picture this as a sort of graph, it's just something that's going up and up and up and up and up, and it's going higher and higher in a shorter amount of time.
Gonna have to...
What will happen? Will that bubble burst? And if so, what does that even mean? What will happen?
I'm having some on the beach. Do you want some?
Yeah, go on then. What on the beach? Just on the beach.
Just sex.
Spending time on the beach.
Also, I wonder...
Thank you. Is it carbonated? Oh.
No, it could be fucking anything. I wonder, in this sort of marketing, business, strategy meetings of apps such as Snapchat,
Yeah.
do they go, this is a great way to send nudes?
I think that...
Because you're promoting that, yeah, there's going to be a market of people, adults, etc.
Yeah.
Girlfriends, whatever, friendships, whether you know them or not, drunk, sexting, whatever. They're going to be like, oh, here's my boobs. But a lot of it, I imagine the market of especially something like a Kik or a Snapchat are mainly...
That's not very nice, by the way.
25 and under. I've not drank any of it yet. Yeah. And with a lot of those being underage. So...
Well, I think at a certain point, let's say you're a Snapchat board member or something, you must know that people use it to sext and whatever, and you must know that a lot of those people are underage. But one, I don't think that that's legally even your responsibility. And two, I think that...
Well, there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, I think they probably just let that be. I think they probably just think that's just what people do, and what people want to do with our thing is up to them. Because that's always been the spirit of the internet, is just to give people tools and let them use them however they will. And so that's what people do with Snapchat and stuff like that. And I think that I think the way that these businesses work is conducive to just letting that happen, because basically, if you're like a Snapchat board member, to you, as long as people are using the app, you're happy. So what they're using it for doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And Snapchat they're apparently in talks with a lot of advertisers for bringing adverts into Snapchat in some sense. I don't know how that'll work, but they're already valued at like tens of billions of dollars. So they're just going to make
they
loads
turned
of
down
money.
2 billion, didn't they?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I wonder where it'll go. I wonder what will happen with it.
We live in a weird world.
Yeah,
where you can just ask for nudes all the time.
Mm.
I'm trying to sort of...
I don't really ask for nudes though.
No,
I'm not an asker.
But I mean, very, very publicly. I'm sort of trying to retweet and tweet along with what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of send me nudes. I'm underage and gay. Whatever it is.
I could never post that on my Twitter or my Facebook or something like that. I would have a problem with saying that to someone one-on-one, on a Kik conversation.
It's weird.
I don't think I've ever said send me nudes.
Send me nudes.
Because it's just so debasing. It just makes you feel so small. I couldn't imagine doing that. I don't know how you can do that to your 1,000 followers or whatever.
Well, but the thing is, this is where underage comes into it again.
Yeah.
When you don't really have a proper grasp of contextual conversation of an adult nature with another human being. Yeah. And you're sort of all...
your social skills aren't necessarily there. Yeah, you just hold...
You go, well, this girl is really hot. Yeah. And I'm, erect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I see...
Can I see your boobs? Can I see your vagina? Yeah.
And that's where a lot of this is. And you can go online and you can put, kick me, snap me. And there's just a lot of nudes for nudes. And it's very weird.
What do you think the 5-year-olds of today...
Yeah.
Where do you think they're going to be in 10 years? Do you think most of them are going to have had sex?
No. Because this is still... As much as it is personal, it's very impersonal. I can do it alone. I can never see somebody... If I've never had sex, and I'm getting nudes 24/7, that does me at this point. I think if I never have sex, I'm not going to miss sex.
You're sort of content.
So they'll know...
I don't know if maybe, but...
Maybe up until a certain age, but they're going to know more about sex. They're going to know...
Spilt some of mine on the beach.
They're going to know everything and how it works.
They're at least going to have a better working knowledge of sex than
even we did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they probably are going to know everything and how it works, but only mechanically, like...
Yeah, and that's why it's still impersonal to that degree. Like, people aren't going to be smooth as shit with ladies in real life.
Yeah.
They're not going to walk into school, bag you, and, well, I've seen you, and I've seen, let's have sex. Because there's still that barrier, there's still that, well, this is quite a big moment, this is still... Whatever it is.
Do you think there's ever a danger of sex becoming too casual as a thing? And is there even, in your opinion, is there even such a thing as too casual?
That's an interesting question. As a society, there's a danger of sex becoming too casual, and the importance of it, the sort of adult nature of it, getting not vanishing, but sort of diminishing.
Yeah.
And if I start fucking casually at a certain age, and that's what everybody does, and you get it now, the whole player existence is something that, whether you're a male or female, is not really teaching you how to be a morally good person.
Yeah.
When you're very singularly minded and sex is casual and it's casual and you can have it with everybody and it's fine, you don't know how the 1, 2, 3, 25 other people are. And the damage you can cause with that is it's quite serious, really. There's a lot of issues with it. If you're both on the same page, if I have sex with a girl, it's casual, it's fine, everything's fine the next day, whatever. If you know him, you don't know him, you never have to see him again. It's fine if you're on that same page. But if you're not, and you see it a lot with like guys, that sort of lad culture of, bang, whatever, you're sort of creating a sort of society that's demeaning, whether it's to male or females. You're sort of losing any chance at connection. You're ruining what I found to be sex with somebody you really like or love. That's a whole other level. I've had casual sex and sex with very important people in my life, and there is a massive difference. Yeah. And what replaces that as a huge step? If it's not there, if sex is a norm, if every time you go out with a girl, meet a girl, whatever, you have sex on the first night, before you even know each other. Yeah. Where does that lead? What happens? Yeah. There's a whole STI pregnancy side of it that I don't know enough about.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that because it's a different conversation. But I think that really, it's a bit of a cliched answer, but I think that it's down to adults, teachers and parents and stuff like that to sort of basically just educate kids and to be aware that for the upcoming generations, sex is probably just going to be more available. That's just going to be the way it is, and you can't really prevent that. So you've got to first of all make younger kids respect the fact that everyone has a different sexual appetite. So I know it's not very nice, is it?
Oh, that is fucking wild. Sorry. Yeah.
Respect the fact that you've got to make people respect the fact that everyone has a different sexual appetite. So, because at the moment, we don't respect the fact that everyone has a different sexual appetite. Everyone's expected to have a baseline sexual appetite, which is the same as people on sitcoms. Yeah. You have quite a lot of sex, but not too much because then you're a slut, and not hardly any because then you're a weirdo or whatever. But the truth is that really everyone's different. Everyone has different tastes in everything. So that's something that really needs to be taken care of first of all. And then on top of that, you need to respect the fact that sex can be casual and it can be important as well. It's not... But I think that basically that's the younger generation is sort of dealing with all of the ideals of not really our generation, but the generations before us, and the sensibilities of the 90s and the 2000s, the 80s and stuff like that. Because all the movies that are being watched aren't made by 15-year-olds, obviously.
Made by 30, 40 year olds.
Yeah, so they're being influenced by people who are basically from a different world. And I suppose that's always to some extent been the case. And I suppose that's just me realising that now, as everyone probably realises in their 20s or whatever. But I think it's just quite impactful in this
you have to,
circumstance.
But you have to tread that line between being too preachy, because teenager at the prime age of rebellion of whatever level, whether that's I'm not going to sweep the floor or I'm just going to go and suck dick for fun, you need to find a balance of, well, look, you have to respect yourself and others, but realise that, you know, this is the 21st century. There's a lot of things that didn't exist even when we were born in 1990, whatever we were born in. You know, homosexuality was still on the World Health Organization's list of, like, diseases.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was still, like, 92 or something. There was no rights, you didn't meet someone who was, like, transgender. You had there's no scope, and now there's so much more information and, you know, people out there willing to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly healthy to want to have a lot of sex. It's perfectly healthy to not have any. You know, if you still want to be 25, you want to wait till you're married, whatever, then that's still just as acceptable.
Yeah.
You need to find that balance, and we don't have that as a society. Being in school especially was an interesting one, because if I look back on it now, 15, 16 you leave at, I left when I was 15.
Yeah.
You don't, I imagine quite like half had sex and half didn't, but the half that didn't, a lot of them probably said they did.
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas now, sitting here 21 years old, I don't want people to think that if you've not had sex by 15, that's not cool.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't matter, but you don't realise that necessarily until you reach a certain age.
And I suppose it's a thing, you won't realise that, and you're a product of your peers and you're a product of your social environment.
Yeah.
And so when you're unsure about something, you often portray that you're very sure about something.
Yeah.
Especially in a social situation where you don't know other people's opinions. So at school it's a prime example of, oh yeah, well, you know, I'd love to have sex though, I am having sex. And, you know, whatever it is, your insecurities are often portrayed as very strong securities.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, that's not the case. And if you look back in hindsight and thinking about it now, I'm thinking back to school and thinking exactly to the people who did that and the people who didn't do that.
Yeah.
And where they are and what they are now. Because I knew people that got pregnant at school. Before that, I didn't speak about it. They weren't really like, this is the best thing ever, you need to do it, I'm doing it all the time, are you doing it? No. And the people who weren't.
The people who were, what do you mean?
Shouting and, sex is bad, and we should all have sex, you're a
Everyone
virgin,
have a lot of sex.
debug the virgin, is...
Well, that's overcompensation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the whole security-insecurity argument. And you need to... Well, you know, ideally you need to have a grasp of what people are like and don't believe all the bullshit people tell you. But that's, you know, I wasn't like that. How can I expect people to be like that now? It's not going to happen.
Well, information is more readily available now. Do you want some figures? Because I've got some figures here.
Yes.
This is from the Kinsey Institute, which is like a sexual health institution. And they've got all sorts of figures, all sorts of statistics and stuff. Age at first intercourse. This is from 2007. But
so when we were 15, 16.
Yeah. So when we were about 15, 25% of males and 26% of females had sex.
At what age?
15.
At 15, okay.
So basically it's saying about a quarter of people have sex first at 15. 37% of people, it says here, percent of population having had first intercourse by age. 37% by 16, that's male, and 40% by 16 for female. For male, 46% by 17, 49% by 17 for female. For 18, it's 62% for males, 70 for females. 19, 69% for males, 77% for females. By the age of about between 22 and 24, you have 89% of males and 92% of females have had sex. So even even past the age of 24, that's 11% of men haven't had sex yet.
Which,
so it's not all that unusual, really.
If you say half of Britain, 70 million, 35, that's, nearly 4 million people
Yeah.
who have not had sex.
Not had sex.
And if you think about it on that scale,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a big issue. Like, I imagine there are people who might even be listening to this podcast.
Oh.
Who've not got it wet yet. Got to throw in a joke occasionally.
Yeah.
And the longer you leave it,
Yeah.
the bigger you build it up in your mind to a lot of people. Like, virginity is a weirdly big thing.
Yeah.
Whereas
Virginity is
immediately
like
once it's gone, you've like, that was a complete waste of any thought
it's
or
not like it was,
whatsoever.
Oh, that wasn't a big deal, but it's at least...
It's a thing you
sort
will
of
remember.
a big deal. Yeah, you will remember it, but...
Like, I remember it, but there's no... I'm
a new person.
I've now
I'm an
transitioned into this period of my life.
Not at all. I'm going to pose you some questions here, just to make it a bit more gamey. This is the frequency of sex part of the Kinsey Institute's FAQ.
Yeah.
So, for people who are single,
Yeah.
aged between 18 and 24, so about our age,
Yeah.
what percentage do you think haven't had sex in the past year?
Single, 18 to 24,
Yeah.
29%.
56%.
56%
Yeah, more than
of
half,
people,
yeah.
18 to 24. That's interesting.
That's for single people who haven't had sex in the past year. What about age 70 plus?
70 plus.
Yeah.
Single,
Single, haven't had sex in the past year.
70
This is
plus.
males.
Males, 70 plus. What was the other one? 56?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 48.
81.
Oh, I thought it would be a trick question that would be lower. Funny story about old people having sex.
Yeah.
Just, my friend, he worked in an elderly care home for a while.
Yeah.
And people would often just sort of want to have sex, but would be incapable of doing it due to their sort of age.
And they're broken dicks.
Well, it might work, but their body can't get them to it.
Yeah.
And he would, like, install various, like, equipment and things that would move them and get
Like
them
winches and levies and... That's weird.
He would often, like, put people in, or, like, help people move into certain... Not positions, so they wouldn't be, like, push it in.
Yeah.
But, like, well, you're here, and then somebody will move... it's weird, but I suppose you have to do it.
I suppose so, maybe. It's quality of life. Here's a TLDR for you. Did you listen to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast with Miss Pat?
Download it, I haven't listened to it.
She's a comedian and she had like a really rough ghetto childhood.
What's she called? Miss Pat.
Yeah.
Miss Pat.
And she said that one of the stories she tells all sorts. You should listen to this podcast. It's great. Not this one. This one is great.
This
as well.
one is great, and you're already listening to it. Good job.
But she tells all sorts of crazy stories, and one of them is that she had an uncle or something like that who was disabled.
Yeah.
And when she was like, I think she said 8 years old, I think.
Yeah.
But when she was a kid, anyway, her and her sisters would have to help the uncle get it in.
Really?
Like physically, like help him get it in during sex, as in put his dick in someone's vagina, which is crazy for like an 8-year-old.
Weird.
Yeah. Just before we move off this, bearing in mind, this is another statistic for you to blow your mind.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that the percentage of single men who haven't had sex in the past year is 56%, what do you think the percentage of married men over the age of 70 who haven't had sex in the past year, what do you think that percentage
Married,
is? Yeah.
over 17, it was 81.
For singles, yeah. But
singles.
What about married?
53.
54.2.
Oh, that's close.
So, if you're between the ages of 18 and 24 and you're single, then the likelihood of you not having had sex in the past year is the same as someone who's over 70 and married. Well, a man who's over 70 and married.
That is very interesting.
For women, it seems like the percentages are basically the same but a bit lower. So, like, single women not having had sex in the past year, our age is about 50%. Yeah, sex is a weird one. We're a very sexually repressed society.
It is very strange.
Yeah. But I think we've said some good stuff about it.
Considering that all came from Kim Kardashian doing a selfie book.
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
We've nailed that Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
We've sorted that right out.
I need a wee.
you want to have a little pause? Because
I think we should have a
would
wee
quite
break.
also need a urine.
You were quite well. Why don't you come with me and we'll cross streams?
Yeah, but
Right,
we
cool.
can just go in the bath, more space.
We'll get naked, go in the bath, and
Yeah.
piss in our own mouths. All right, listener, you do the same thing, and we'll meet you back here in a few seconds. Well, that was a good break, wasn't it, Matt?
It was a good break.
Yes.
Wee, or piss, as dirty common people call it,
Yeah.
really should have taken about 2 minutes. I think it took about an hour and 2 minutes.
How long was it? I'm not going to find out. It was a while, yeah. Because we batted a balloon around. I think we're going to release a separate MP3 because we were batting around this balloon here, as you can hear.
Don't start again.
No. And we just got into a massive conversation about nothing related to anything, and the microphone was still on. So we might as well release that. But anyway, now we're back. Hello.
Hi Phil,
Hi, Matt.
how are we? How's the old bladder?
It's empty now.
Empty. Mine was empty, but it sort of feels about half full now.
Yeah.
I also brought in this blue drink.
I didn't even notice. Blue Lagoon Caribbean Twist. What is that?
A sparkling Caribbean style alcoholic cocktail. Contains
Does that mean it has coconut in
sulfites.
it?
Contains sulfites. A sparkling orange, peach and passion fruit cocktail, flavoured cocktail, made with blended fermented alcohol. So a blend of leftover alcohol, sugars and sweeteners. This is, you're not really a big drinker, but Caribbean Twist is the sort of brand that 15, 16-year-old girls would drink.
Oh, right.
Because it tastes like pop and is about 4% alcohol. So I'm going to dive right in.
Yeah. Oh, fizzy.
I also brought ice back in the room before we started batting the ball
It's
back.
all
It's just
melted.
melted. I almost don't want to pour the...
It would just be watered down. You've got to drink the warmish water. Brilliant. That is very blue. That's bluer than anything natural.
Never drink anything luminous.
That almost glows. That's so blue. It looks like it's out of Watchmen.
Smell it. About half an hour too long, that film.
What, Watchmen? Yeah. Comic's good though, have you read the comic?
Yeah.
Good,
I used to have it somewhere, but where it is now, I've no idea. It's the only graphic novel I've ever read.
That's not too bad, really.
It's better than On the Beach.
Yeah, I've still got some of my On the Beach left.
Well, down in one, show us your bum.
Nope, not gonna do that. Kevin Smith.
K. Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Fat Kev.
Fat Kev Smith.
Yeah.
That Kev Smith.
Favouriter
Fat
of
Kev Smith.
Jake Abramdy's tweets.
Yeah.
Fellow podcaster.
He's really taken a cue from us because
Fellow weed smoker.
we started
Not
podcasting.
bragging.
Yeah. We started podcasting back in 12.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, he's been podcasting.
He's also been podcasting, yeah. When he started is irrelevant.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
continued.
yeah.
We've arrived on the scene, and unlike most who got too intimidating and ran away,
Yeah.
when did Gervais last do a podcast?
Oh, years ago.
Scared.
What, Gervais should carry on. That was probably the best work of his that he's ever done, barring The Office.
Yeah. It's hard to judge that, really, because it's sort of different mediums.
Yeah, it's very different.
Certainly
But
better than his films, though.
Of all of the Ricky Gervais things that there are, the thing that I've laughed at the most has been his podcast. But then is laughter really the end all be all of
comedy, yes.
well, of judging a piece of media? Because The Office wasn't just for laughs.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's hard to sort of compare his work.
Why are we here? What are we talking about? Kevin Smith.
Fat Kev.
Fat Kev Smith.
What?
Wow, very thick saliva.
Oh, that'll be all the fermented alcohol.
Yeah. I meant to just take a brief...
What?
But no. Kevin Smith has been talking recently about his experience on the set of Star Wars Episode 7.
I heard a little bit of this on Babylon,
Yeah.
but what I do with podcasts is then I immediately fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I often get the intro, the first 5 minutes. Babylon's a
You
great one.
get the Squarespace ad.
The Babylon's a good one because they'll come out and he'll be like, New Jersey, it's Friday night, whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
Fat Kev Smith and Ralph Carmen will be like, hey, and then I don't even get to like
The first segment.
Yeah. Garmi's bag, what is it? Ain't no drug. Garmin's got an email bag. I very rarely get to that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it depends if... For people who haven't heard Kevin Smith's podcasts, he calls them smodcasts, and you can get them on smodcast.
Why? Where does that come from?
Smith Mosier.
Hello.
Kevin Smith, Scott Mosier. Yeah.
I like Scott Mosier.
I like Scott Mosier a lot. But
I feel like he just has a very nice life.
Yeah.
Because nobody will... I don't think I'd spot him in the street.
No.
I couldn't really tell you what he looks like.
Well... I could.
But could you spot him, or could you go, that really looks like Scott Mosier?
Yeah, I would say that looks a lot like Scott. Especially since I live in Nuneaton, in England.
Well, yeah, I mean... But he does what he enjoys doing.
Yeah.
And hangs around with his friends for money.
Yeah. And he also seems to... We are sucking the dick of Scott Mosier a little bit here.
It's alright, he sucks our dick on this podcast every week.
He does all the time, yeah. Just by doing a podcast. But he also seems to just live a good life in that he does a lot of activities. He goes on hikes and stuff like that and meditates, you know. All of these good things. Probably just lives a nice life.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scott Mosier if you're listening.
That's what money and happiness will do for you.
Yeah, money. But anyway, Kevin Smith recently released episode, I want to say 304, let me just check. Episode 304 of Smodcast, which is called The Musk of Tusk. And that was the live recording of his Comic-Con panel, where they debuted the Tusk trailer. And he tells the story of going on the Episode 7 set, the Star Wars Episode 7 set.
How did he get in?
He was emailed by J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams just emailed him and said, would you like to go on the set? I imagine probably because J.J. Abrams knows that he's got a big voice and he goes on podcasts and stuff. But that's neither here nor there. The first place that I heard him talk about the experience was he did this talk in Neuchâtel in Switzerland. There was like
Switzerland?
Yeah, there was like a film... There's some sort of film festival in Switzerland in Neuchâtel. And he gave a talk, and it was like Kevin Smith's masterclass or something. And I was just on Facebook, and there was a link, and it was posted like 8 minutes ago. And it said, this live stream is about to start, so I just watched it. And he talked about Star Wars Episode 7. This was about a month ago. And I would just recommend that people listen to it. I'll probably link to it somehow. But he tells this great story about how he stepped onto the set, and he went onto the Millennium Falcon, and it felt like he was transported back in time to his childhood, and he feels reinvigorated with the magic of movies and stuff like that, and how they're making this tactile Star Wars.
How are they doing it? What's the... Like... Oh, you know, I've said it before. I enjoy Star Wars, but I don't follow it religiously.
You're not a Star Wars fan, let's say.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm not a fan. If it's on television, it'll be like, yes, put it on, leave it on.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people that's like every certain amount of months I'm like, yes, I need to watch it. I haven't watched it in ages.
Yeah.
I couldn't recount the plot of any of them, or even the whole franchise thus far of them. But
I don't think most fans could, though, because it's very complicated. It's very convoluted.
But it's always just enjoyable.
Yeah, it is just enjoyable.
And I'm in that position where I don't want that to not be the case.
How do you mean?
I don't want to try and push it.
Oh, no, yeah, I see.
Because I think we said it last week, like Star Wars is really in at the minute, because nerd culture is bigger than it's maybe ever been.
Definitely.
And Star Wars 7, Episode 7, is next year.
Yeah.
So if there's any time to be a Star Wars fan, it's right now.
Yeah.
And so people are talking about it everywhere, on hit podcasts like TLDR, on hit internet websites like tfcpodcast.com.
Yeah.
And so a part of me is like, well, I should just download or buy all of them and just, watch them in order and get it all in gear and then do that. But I feel like that would ruin a sort of quite nice relationship I have with the films, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think we live in such an immediate world where it feels like a film is no longer relevant as soon as it's out on DVD. Whereas really, you can go back to something from like 10 years ago and just discover it for the first time. I always feel really pressured when something comes out when it's like hugely culturally relevant and enough people recommend it. I feel so pressured that I just don't watch it until about 6 years down the line, and then I'll watch it and be like, "Oh, this is actually great," and then tweet about it. Who else knew that this is a great film? And like that's like the Lego movie is the most recent example, and Guardians of the Galaxy to a certain extent.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of TV like that.
Yeah.
At the rate of which TV comes out at the minute.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, has it always come out at this rate? There's more platforms for television to come out than ever.
Well, it's never been that an entire season comes out on one day.
Yeah.
Take like Orange is the New Black. It's not like season 2 has just started. Season 2 is out
it's
now.
all out now.
So you can watch the last episode first if you want.
Yeah. And I feel like there's so many things I'm like, right, I'll write that down, I'll do that. And then by the time I've even considered watching it, everyone's like, this is the best thing ever, and it's already too
overblown.
Good.
Yeah.
Arrested Development is my biggest example of that, because that came out, what is it, 2002, 3?
Yeah, around that.
So, as soon as I was sort of age, started using like internet and becoming anywhere savvy with anything, I'm like, I do consider myself like a big comedy fan, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, this is, probably one of the greatest sort of comedy shows of all time. And I was like, well,
especially within this time period.
Yeah, within like the last 20 or so years,
10
years, 15 years, whatever it is now. And I was like, oh yeah, that does sound. Oh, look at all the cast that's in it. Oh, that's good. I know, whatever from this from that. Oh yeah, I will start it. I will sing. And it just never happened. And I've watched it now, and it was just as good as I expected it to be. But even like when season 4 came out, I couldn't watch it all.
No.
Even though I'd recently finished the 3rd season. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. I felt like I needed to wait. I needed everyone's attention to be off it.
Yeah.
Before I gave it my full attention.
There's just pressure. It's just there's some sort of weird, vague social pressure.
And I don't know if it's me not wanting to feel like I'm watching it purely for the benefit of everybody else. I don't know if that's a weird sort of how I portray myself kind of thing. Even though I know it's not, and even though I don't really need to tell anybody, I'll tweet about it, but I could keep it all to myself. But it still just wouldn't feel as enjoyable as if I watch it, a couple of months down the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it is, but there's certainly a weird pressure that comes with like something that's such a part of the zeitgeist that sometimes it can be good to just wait for a while.
And comedies, it's easier to wait with comedy. Yeah. Because often the overlying narrative isn't going to be as hard-hitting or isn't going to be the most important part of it. Yeah. Like, say, Breaking Bad's the biggest example at the minute. Like, the whole ending, don't spoil the ending. Really, with comedy, it's not really that case.
Yeah, and there are no real spoilers.
Comedy dramas, etc.
I mean, a spoiler for a comedy is to say the best joke, really. Yeah. Which isn't...
And even with sort of comedy dramas, which are more narrative-driven, you could say, well, Rachel gets off the plane. Yeah. He meets the mother. Whatever it is.
It's like, well,
that's really only a % of the whole enjoyment of watching.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Whereas, I was speaking of Smodcast, I was listening to the most recent Smodcast on the way here, which is episode 305, and I had to turn it off after 10 minutes because they were talking about Game of Thrones, and I was like, spoilers, because I've not watched the most recent season.
It was like I had
just have to avoid spoilers. Yeah. But
when something is so culturally relevant, I almost feel like I have to be on my guard all the time. Yeah. Like, I think I was literally listening to a wrestling podcast, a wrestler interviewing another wrestler. Yeah. It was like, they got onto Breaking Bad, I was like, I'm going to have to just skip it forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Do something.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. Like, I have, my Twitter, whatever, is very much full of wrestling fans. So if I know there was a wrestling show, it was on Sunday. Is it Sunday today?
Yes.
It was last night. So Sunday morning. Yeah. And I haven't seen it yet. I've got it waiting for at some point in the future. But I know not to go on my Twitter
feed,
because I'll just see what happens. Yeah. But with something like a Breaking Bad, a Game of Thrones, a Star Wars to a certain extent, these things are going to be everywhere. It's not a niche. It's not a niche anymore.
It's not a niche at all. It's like...
And Star Wars fans often like to think they are a niche.
Yeah, there's a weird thing happening at the minute where this whole culture, who identifies itself as being basically a niche, is sort of coming to terms with the fact that actually it's mainstream. And I don't know if that's even an important thing, but it's at least potentially interesting. But anyway, I'm excited for Star Wars. I'm really excited for the new Star Wars.
When's it come out? 2015?
late 2015, so probably December or September, I think, 2015. It might get pushed back.
What do you think happens from here? Because it's one of the only films that could gather so much interest almost a year and a half away from release.
Yeah. Well, sort of.
Like, what else is out there that could gather this much release?
Well,
this much attention?
There are a few 2015 films that have a lot of attention behind them, like Batman vs Superman might now be 2016. That's got a lot of attention behind it.
Okay, but that again, they're two huge franchises.
Yeah, they're franchises. Yeah.
It's like there's nothing.
I mean, Star Wars is its own thing. Like Star Wars VII is, I would imagine, going to be the highest grossing film ever in cinema.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not, I would be surprised.
Yeah, I'll be quite surprised if that record isn't broken by several films over the coming years.
Yeah, it is going to be, but I think that these new Star Wars films are going to be... I mean, film in general is just seeing a massive boost, and probably thanks part to piracy. Like, people thought that the film industry was going to die like 10 or 15 years ago, or even less than that, because of piracy, but piracy has actually bolstered it to the point where it's breaking records.
The way I see it is, I'm, born early 90s, there's so many classic films. If you look at your top 150 IMDb films, I've probably seen about 100, 150 of them. Maybe 5 or 10 of them in the cinema. There's no way I'm ever going to go out and at 15 years old risk spending, 5, 10 quid on The Good, the Bad and the Ugly on DVD.
Yeah.
But I've watched it now, and because of that, well, that's just an example, but whatever film it is, pick a film. Fight Club came out in 90-something.
99, I think.
2.
Yeah.
So, because of that, I'm now interested in film, interested in
it's
actors,
cultivated a passion.
directors. And I wouldn't even say passion,
but it's at least
an interest. And so, if I didn't have that, if my film knowledge was purely anything I own on DVD, which is that weird collection of things over there, gifts from family or friends or whatever,
and cinema experiences, it'd be very limited. Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been to the cinema in my life.
No, I would say I've been to the cinema 2 dozen times.
Well, I imagine I probably went as a child with family. Like, I remember seeing which Star Wars was it, where they go pod racing for about an hour?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
We would have been about 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. I remember going to see that, and around that time, cinema was a lot cheaper then. Not as cheap as it was when, our parents were about they're not dead. They were young. But, so I imagine I went a lot more as a child, and then when I had a bit of money and I wasn't able to drink, friends would often go, like, we went and saw Inception.
It's just the thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, something to do, fills a bit of time.
Yeah.
But now, it's like 9 quid.
I do like the cinema experience a lot.
If it was a quid, I'd go every week.
Yeah. I mean, I would reserve it for, like, the big films. Like, I'm definitely going to see Star Wars Episode 7 in the cinema, definitely.
Because the cinema experience for me is fantastic, and it does add to a film, not going to lie, but that doesn't take away from the amount of money that I'm putting into it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm at a point in my life financially where, I do have, loose income, whatever they call it, but still 10 quid is basically what you're paying, getting there, driving, whatever. Just dropping that on a film is all. It feels like a big risk.
It does. It's a lot of money. I mean,
and it leaves me going in saying, if this isn't really good, I'm going to feel robbed.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's just meh, like I say, if it's £1, and I suppose when I'm 40 and I have that money, 10 quid will be like £1, hopefully. Touch wood.
Yeah.
But if it's £1, I feel like meh, it's £1. It's a pack of sweets, and so I risk nothing for it. So if it's shit, I go it's shit. If it's great, it's great. But even if the film now is great, in the back of my mind, I've still dropped a tenner on it.
It's the money that you
so it's not as good.
Yeah.
I feel like if I watch a film for free and it's brilliant, then it's brilliant. But if I've watched it for a tenner in the cinema, it's just under brilliant, because I've seen it on the big screen, massive, but I've dropped a tenner on it.
In fact...
And that's how my mind works.
If I was to list the past 5 times I've been to the cinema, I can't.
Yeah.
If I was to do that, a few of them would be those free screenings that we...
Yeah, we went to a lot of those, didn't we?
Like TED, Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods, yeah.
Like advanced screenings.
I saw the Sapphires.
I would,
for free.
I would never have gone to the cinema to see any of those films if I had to pay money.
No.
Never at all. But the fact that... Yeah, I mean, I don't know, this conversation is just going around in circles, but like... The idea that piracy is bad for the film industry has been disproven.
Especially on, your Hollywood scale.
Yeah.
I feel like independently they could be hitting the pocket.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of stumbling blocks in the way. Like, how am I going to see an independent film anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
So...
Especially because where we live, they don't play independent films.
There's one Odeon. Yeah. There's an Odeon.
And they don't play independent films as far as I know.
No. You might have...
You might have quite a big
one
independent
screening
film, like
on a
maybe,
Sunday.
Yeah.
For your OAP. Whatever it is, there's not that out there. Yeah. It's not like I'm deliberately... taking money, but whatever. It's that whole...
But you wouldn't do it anyway.
You wouldn't steal a policeman's hat.
Yeah.
You wouldn't shit in the hat and give it back. But now I've seen it.
Yeah.
And isn't that what, as a filmmaker, what you want? Ideally, of course, you want to make money and gross money. But if you're
if you're an artist,
if you're making a film purely to make money, and people do, then I feel your heart's in the wrong place.
I feel that you don't really deserve that money anyway, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
Yeah. I mean, most of the people who will say that... I don't know how we got onto this, but most of the people who will say...
So we're talking about highest grossing films and...
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars VII is definitely going to be...
It's got $2.788 billion to top.
What's that? Avengers?
Avatar. Avatar 1, Titanic 2.187 billion.
Is that adjusted for inflation?
No.
Avengers, I think adjusted for inflation probably Gone with the Wind.
Adjusted for inflation, Gone with the Wind 3.3 billion. Avatar, Star Wars, Titanic, Sound of Music.
Which Star Wars?
Just Star Wars. So I imagine the original one, New Hope. But all these are from like...
I'm really excited to live in a world again where Star Wars is a thing, because for the past 10... I mean, really in like the 90s, Star Wars was revived again a bit because of people writing novels and video games being released and stuff like that. And then in the 2000s you had the prequel trilogy, which revived it, but in a weird way that not everyone liked. So I'm excited. I mean, I said last time we did the Comic-Con episode, and I said something about... I think we were talking about Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And I said that even the most middling films that are released nowadays, or I said something like even the worst films that are released nowadays are as good as the middling films of like 10 years ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. We've just... The people who make movies, and even like video games and stuff like that, are just so good at it now that media is just really good now. So to see a new Star Wars film, it's probably going to be great. And all the games that are based on that film and that are based on the franchise are all going to be great. And it's just going to be fun to consume all of that stuff. I'm just excited for it.
Yeah, I feel like Star Wars will be impressive.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, it will be.
And I feel like with everything, there's going to be people who will hate it.
Yeah,
and
probably.
will pick holes in it. And even more so with something as maybe not widely loved, but with such a passionate fan base, is that you're not going to hit it out of the park for everybody.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about that. They didn't do that with the sort of
prequels. Yeah.
Prequel 3.
Well, most of the fans of most Star Wars air quotes fans really dislike the prequel trilogies or trilogy, which people get overzealous about it. I
never have a comment on it because I saw them when they came out and I've not seen them in full since.
Yeah.
So I saw the Phantom Menace in the cinema.
Yeah.
And I was like 7, so it was like mind-blowingly cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I haven't watched it since. Yeah. But everywhere you go, it's sort of an internet thing. Like, oh, Lucas, what did he do?
Yeah.
Fuck the prequels, and so I sort of can't be bothered to watch it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not gonna love it as much as I did when I was a kid. I'm not gonna hate it as much as the internet tells me I should.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stick to my
It's just
nice
there are all
happy
sort of,
medium.
yeah, there are all sorts of expectations. I think that when these sequels come out, there will be a lot of people who hate them, but I'm just going to try and ignore all of that, and I'm just going to go in loving them, even if they're terrible. I don't care. I'm just excited.
It's gonna. I'm going to go. I think I will definitely go to the cinema and see it.
Yeah, just because it's a big cultural event.
It's going to be sold out.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Probably for quite a while.
Yeah, quite a while. It's probably going to be in cinemas for like a year.
Yeah, it'll play.
It's going to be an unfathomably huge film.
Oh, there are films
to the degree that we've not known for our lifetime. I would have thought.
I don't really spend much time at cinemas or know much about film whatsoever. But how long do films usually run for? Does it all depend on marketing? How much money you want to put into it?
I think it does largely depend on that, and it depends on demand as well, I guess.
Because I'm looking at like this, list of highest-grossing films of all time, and the ones not adjusted for inflation, majority of them are very recent. But stuff like Avengers, Harry Potter, I feel like with the money that like a series or a company behind those have, they could put them on screens for years, months and months and months.
Yeah.
And surely then they're going to gross an incredible amount of money.
I wonder how long that's still profitable for, because the cinema has to agree to have those films on as well.
Well, I'm sure
and
they have teams that work that out to the nth degree.
But the cinema's got to make room for new films. And if there's like, let's say you go to the Odeon or whatever, some local cinema, and they're not playing new films because they're still playing the film that was released 11 months ago, you're just not going to go there. So they have to bear that in mind.
Yeah, but then do films, like Titanic here's 97, that's, only one in the top 10 from before 2000.
Really?
Yeah. So does that get the same run as, say, Iron Man 3 did last year? Does that factor in?
I'm going to ask Google, how long do films stay in cinema?
How many of the top 10 do you think you can get while you're Googling that? Of all time, not adjusted for inflation, because I don't think you'll get the ones adjusting.
Right, no, I wouldn't. Avengers.
Yeah. Number 3.
Titanic.
Number 2.
Avatar, the ones you said.
Yeah, top 3.
The most recent Harry Potter.
Deathly Hallows Part 2. Yeah, number 4.
Deathly Hallows Part 1? No.
No. That's not even... That's number 24.
Iron Man 3?
Iron Man 3, number 6.
Spider-Man... Amazing Spider-Man?
Nope.
Any of the Spider-Mans?
Spider-Man 3 is at 32.
But I'm getting the top 10.
Yeah.
How many Marvel movies are in there? Have I missed any Marvel movies, like Captain America?
No.
Toy Story 3?
Number 12.
Number 12, what? How many animated movies are in there? Monsters University, maybe?
One in the top 10.
How to Train Your Dragon? It wouldn't be that.
Nope. It's very popular now.
Despicable Me?
No.
Very popular now.
I've got the
Frozen
DVD over there.
Frozen,
number 5, $1.28 billion.
Wow. Alright, tell me the rest, because I don't know.
You got the top 6. 7, Transformers Dark of the Moon. 8, Lord of the Rings Return of the King. 9, Skyfall. And 10, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah, Batman.
Adjusted for inflation, well, you're still Googling because you didn't do any Googling.
I did, I'm on it now.
10, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from 37. 9, Jaws. 8, Dr. Zhivago. 7, The Ten Commandments. 6, E.T. 5, Sound of Music. 4, Titanic. 3, Star Wars. 2, Avatar. And 1, Gone with the Wind. There you go.
Well, to answer your question, films usually stay in the cinema for about a month, but if they do really well, longer than that. Like, it says here that the last Star Wars movie, which was 2005, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, Sith.
Yeah, that stayed in there for a couple of months in the UK. So, yeah, it depends how well they do. But I imagine Star Wars Episode 7 is going to do a lot better than any of the other prequels. And, any other film ever.
I think
it's going to do better than Avatar, definitely.
If the film was done by Lucas again, I feel a lot of people would be like, they'll go and see it.
Yeah, but
still people would be like,
excited about it.
There'll be less excitement because they got bought out. You know, like I said, I don't know a huge amount about it. Bought out, a lot of budget. We've seen films by this company before do massively well and please fans of those sort of franchises and series. It's going to be good.
Yeah,
people are quite excited.
Yeah. I've got another thing here, which
Good.
is
Brill.
which is quite a heavy subject, but let's just dive in.
Yeah.
This is IBM. You're familiar with IBM, yeah? You're
Yeah.
in computer sciences.
Yeah.
Well, IBM have released a new chip. I think this was developed at MIT, I think.
Yeah.
They've released a new computer chip which processes data in the same way that the human brain does. And it's called the synapse or synapse.
It does, or it can do.
It does, that's how it works. The infrastructure of the chip has these things called, quote, neurons, which aren't real neurons, they're like little transistors. But they work in the... It's been like inspired by the human brain. And it can do things like you can show this chip a video and it'll be able to say that's a car, that's a person, that's a bike, sort of thing. Like it has an intuitive understanding, sort of thing. That's my understanding of it anyway.
Okay.
It's also a lot faster and a lot more power efficient than normal computers. So there you go. What do you think of that, bitch?
Well, is this something that they have one of and have gone, look at this, we can do this now?
Yeah.
Or is it something they've gone, look, we can do this and we want to do it everywhere? Well, because there's a difference between saying we can spend £100 million and do this one chip, so you all go, yay, but we don't see this chip for another, 10 years.
Yeah.
Because people like to get excited about what the future holds and where are we going to stop? What's it going to be?
Futurology.
Yeah. But you need to be grounded at some point. And is this something that is a major advancement with nothing? Just a major advancement. So
No
we'll
application.
go, wow, that is a major advancement.
Yeah.
But then what? Because to me, it sounds fascinating. The idea that you can create a chip that emulates the speed and function of the brain.
Yeah.
Sort of the most complex thing known to man, really, the brain.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Most complex thing in the universe, people say.
That simple sentence that we can now create a microchip, like a tiny computer, like even 50 years ago, computers were huge,
like
massive, sizes of rooms.
Yeah.
And in 50 years, we've been able to not only transform, computers down to nothing, like tiny, like phones, full working computers, but we now have a chip that works like the brain.
Well, it's the way that it works is inspired by the brain, but it's not necessarily. It's inspired by a certain. It says here the wrinkled outer layer of the brain. So
what? Like it simulates.
It just simulates neurons and synapses, basically.
With what end? Like recognition, like calculations.
The way that I see it is that it processes much faster than a normal computer, and it also has certain applications that normal computers wouldn't be able to do, like it can understand things intuitively and make connections and recognise things, basically. So you could, if you went with a crazy futurology thing, let's say we imagine a future where this chip has been widely adopted and stuff like that. What if they use this chip in like robotics? What if they have robots with these brains, which are very similar to mammalian brains or human brains, and they can recognise objects? Well, can they recognise themselves?
Yeah, that's interesting. Where does it? What's the end?
There are all sorts of interesting philosophical questions that begin to arise.
As I tried to, read along, etc., I found this article about it, and it said the company has connected multiple chips, blah, 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 and sees applications of the technology ranging from, supercomputers to floating jellyfish-shaped devices that could sense tsunamis or other aquatic conditions.
That's interesting.
So it could be placed somewhere and it could sense the world to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And be that step ahead. Because weather is an interesting one.
Yeah.
In that we can, to
an extent,
predict it quite well.
Yeah.
But can we predict it to this extent? Probably not. Can we pick? This is almost animal-esque. Like they say, before a storm, the dogs go crazy. It's in all the apocalypse films. That scene of
the birds flock away. Or
what's
whatever
Buster
happens.
doing?
Yeah.
The birds are flocking away.
Yeah.
And if they can sense that, and this chip can basically replicate that, then that would be incredible.
Yeah. Well, this is just the first thing that MIT has done this week, which has impressed me. The second thing that they've done, which is not really in a similar vein, but sort of, it's about computing, and it's something that will blow your mind. I don't know if you saw this, but they invented this sort of algorithm, or this program or something, where basically they can train a camera on a physical object, and then they can watch the tiny, minute vibrations on that physical object caused by sound waves, and then translate that into actual sound. So, for example, they have this video where they demonstrate it, where they focus a camera on a bag of crisps, or chips, like an empty bag of crisps, and someone in the room is talking, someone in the room is singing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then they use the video of the camera of the bag of crisps vibrating minutely by like 100th of a pixel or whatever, and they get that data and turn it into sound, and then they play the audio, and you can hear the person talking just by looking at the vibrations of this crisp packet. Really? So they've basically they've come up with an algorithm to turn everyday objects into microphones by watching the way that they vibrate from sound waves, which is crazy.
It's crazy, but my automatic thought there is that's terrifying.
Yeah, what if the NSA got that? Then every camera would automatically also be a microphone. In a sense.
And anything can be a mic, like everything we're around. If you can get that off a crisp packet, then what? Sound reflects off everything. Yeah. And so then everything becomes a microphone.
Literally, at that point, the walls do have not eyes but ears.
Yeah. So while that is progression technologically almost beyond my comprehension.
Yeah.
The negatives of that just stand out immediately to me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably my, pessimistic.
No, it's not. I think a lot of people thought that immediately, and I did as well. I would like to say that the first thing I thought of was like, think of the forensic applications. But the first thing I thought of really was, this is like a spy tool, basically.
And if that exists, it's always going to exist in the hands of potentially bad people. Like, if that makes sense. Especially
if it becomes like.
Well, the algorithm is an algorithm.
Yeah.
You can't. If that
but is it open source? Is it public? I don't know if it is.
Well,
it might be though. Actually,
who is? Well, not on the board, but MIT.
Yeah, it's just a university.
They're going to have to answer to somebody if the government comes in tomorrow and says this algorithm's great.
Can we have it?
Here's X amount of money. Give it to us or work for us.
Yeah.
Then that's great for them, but potentially terrible for us.
Yeah.
And this is a whole nother level of entering and sort of breaking down the walls of any kind of privacy whatsoever.
Yeah,
if they want, and it's not going to be on all the time. There's not going to be people monitoring X, Y, and Z.
But you can extrapolate. You can say, okay, this is how it is now, or this is how it's going to be in like 10 years. What about 100 years from now? What about 200? What about 300? Like, what is privacy going to be at that point, and what is our society going to look like? What does the society look like which is at once massive but also has no privacy? Is that going to be a very, very positive thing, or is it going to be a very, very negative thing? Maybe it'll have little impacts really on the way that we behave at all, but I imagine it will. It's interesting to think about. On the one hand, you can imagine it bringing people together, but on the other hand, you can imagine it making people just lose their shit and just start wars over the smallest things.
How would it work if you played like a silent piece of media at it?
What
Like
do you
a
mean?
silent film or a silent...
Well, it's only audio, so...
Yeah, but if it's movement
Oh, I
it's
see what
picking
you're
up
saying.
on,
Yeah.
then the movement that you see,
Yeah.
recorded, and if it would work recorded.
Well, it is silent. I mean, the video that they use is silent, so they have...
Well then, surely you could play any silent piece of media, any questionable video footage we have from the past. What
Yeah.
did he say here? What did he say before he shot him? What was this? What were his last words? To Charlie Chaplin films, where...
Well, I think with a Charlie Chaplin film, the quality would be so bad that you just wouldn't get anything from it. Because they have to use... To get the best results, they use these like expensive high-speed cameras under perfect conditions, and the camera isn't moving at all, and it's focused perfectly on this inanimate object that is fairly flimsy. So, just taking a Charlie Chaplin film and looking at the
would
wall-
we have anything, or is the frame rate that was good? Would it be able to pick up anything?
Well, they said that you can get the same effect by using a consumer DSLR camera, so just a camera that you can buy at the shop. So yeah, potentially there are things out there where you could pick up audio from them. Like there are probably YouTube videos where you could get the actual audio from them. It'd be interesting. The applications. I mean, obviously the obvious applications are like forensics and spying and stuff like that. But then you can think about things like nature documentaries.
Yeah, well, practically, if I'm saying this is only just a very recent breakthrough, so, and I'm not saying it's going to become commonplace anytime soon, but practically, surely there's so much you can do with it.
Yeah, like I was just going to say, with nature documentaries, most of the sounds that you hear aren't real. They're sounds that have been put in post-production. Because you can't get a microphone up to a insect, well you could do, but or like if it's something that's being filmed from a helicopter, you just can't hear anything because of the blades.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting that you could potentially get the actual real sounds extrapolated from the video, from like high definition, high speed cameras and stuff like that. It'd just be interesting to.
It would be sound in
all
sort of
sorts
its
of
rawest form.
Yeah.
Like, nature documentary is an interesting one because you watch them and you don't really think about that. But it is very crisp and it's very... You know what you're hearing. It's a monkey. Yeah. Well, you hear a very loud, prominent monkey. But if you had this...
Foley, it's not real.
If you had this technology, you would have almost raw sound.
Yeah.
So it might...
You'd have it with all the reverberations of the forest and stuff like that.
But it would be natural.
Yeah.
It would be, a nature documentary.
Well, it's not... I mean... When you hear, because you can watch the video and you can hear the examples that they've given, and it does sound sort of like it's being played through a gramophone, like it's not, the audio quality isn't the best. But I think it's.
But the algorithm itself is the breakthrough.
Yeah.
I think, fine tuning the sound quality is something that will. Potentially, I don't know how any of it works at all.
No,
so I'm saying that'll be easy. We'll get that done once we've got that algorithm.
You just think that that's the case, though. I mean, I think that as well. Like, you just imagine that they're going to sort it all out, and at some point it's going to be great.
Over what distance would this work?
They did one example where it was a few feet away, and it was the cameras behind soundproof glass.
Yeah,
and that's the furthest example that I saw.
Do you think potentially there's the technology capabilities to do it over a much bigger scale?
Probably not right now, but at some point.
Yeah, I mean potentially.
Maybe if you have cameras with, amazing zooms on them or whatever. Because I think you have to have a crisp, clear image of the object in question.
Okay, but then what about something like a shooting star?
Ooh. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe you could have
space.
Astronomical. But they say there's no sound in space, don't they? Space, no one can hear you scream.
But space begins at a certain point where... Can we go atmosphere? Can we go... what's the...
Yeah, but what is there in the atmosphere to hear?
Well,
You could hear clouds, that'd be quite interesting.
And wind.
What do
maybe.
clouds sound like?
Formation of rain or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is all
What
just
about-
sort of spitballing. I've not really given it any thought, but
What about like microscopic things? Hear the world of microscopic
Germs.
cells and stuff. Would that even work? I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. That could be.
well, it could. Like it could do. Why couldn't it?
I don't know.
Because if we can't see it, no, if we
Maybe
can't,
we
hear
also
it,
can't
yeah,
hear it. Yeah, I'm not sure how it works.
It doesn't. It doesn't really. Us saying, "Oh no, that's probably not true," is sort of bullshit because we know absolutely nothing about the topic whatsoever.
We can either say, "Oh, that's definitely true," or "That's not true." We don't know.
And I'd prefer to go, "Oh, that's true. That'd be great," and see like the formation of cells.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or hear the formation of cells.
Yeah, hear the formation.
Hear
of
like
cells.
a hydrogen atom or something like
And
that.
it's probably not going to be groundbreakingly entertaining,
Yeah.
but to just go, "Oh wow, that's cool."
Maybe it'll have some weird medical application. Because you find that a lot with new technologies, they'll have these. Often they'll have these surprising medical applications that you didn't even consider. Maybe sound. I mean, sound is already a part of medicine, like ultrasound and stuff like that. So maybe they'll be able to do that more effectively somehow, or something. Or
What about babies?
yeah, ultrasound. That's you'll be able to hear babies talk in the womb, see what they're up to, see what they're thinking about.
Oh,
I want to download the latest TLDR podcast.
It's really brilliant.
Play it to your belly. Yeah, I don't know.
Technology is something, like this scale technology, is something I know so little about.
Yeah, me. It just goes so quickly, though.
And I feel that I know so little about it that I almost don't deserve to be like, wow, every time I hear something new.
Yeah.
Because every time I hear something new, it's like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible too. All these... And I do sort of get caught up in the hype of, this is going to be the best thing in the world, this is the next biggest thing.
Yeah.
And it, often isn't.
Yeah.
But...
This is going to be the next best thing, though. This is going to be the wave of the future. I'm calling it now. I'm going to invest, and this is going to be how people listen to TLDR in the future, through inanimate objects. I think that's probably the end of the podcast now.
Have we nailed it once again?
I'm just quite tired, so yeah.
Yeah. Should have had a modafinil, you see.
Oh yeah, I
Like
should
me.
have done.
I feel on top of my game right now.
It's also all those weird drinks that we had.
Yeah.
I feel like I've developed a cold throughout that podcast.
I had a shave earlier and my face has just been really warm ever since. I just feel like I'm glowing. That might be the booze though as well.
No, you are glowing, yeah. You have that newborn...
Sexy man look. Yeah.
That
I don't
I'm
want to
just
put words in
giving
your
birth
mouth.
sort of thing, yeah.
God, he's got a great bod look, yeah. Thanks, Phil. It's nice of you to say so. You're welcome, Matt. Hey, Phil, your voice sounds a lot like my voice. Don't worry about it. I'm just emulating you because I love you. Whoa! L-bomb.
Wow.
That's crazy.
L-bomb, yeah. This is a bit weird. I wasn't part of that conversation. I just want to throw a disclaimer out there.
Yes, you were. I were. Yeah, it sounds like you.
Yeah. I'm going to end the podcast now.
It's been good. I've enjoyed myself once again.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I feel the modafinil podcast combo is...
I should have taken a modafinil.
Yeah, you should have done. Can have one if you like. Just redo the whole thing.
Yeah, I want to go round two.
Yeah, round two.
Yeah.
Ding ding.